Hello, friends. Welcome to episode 317 here on Play Along Podcast, the podcast where we play through games. And in this episode, we are jumping into more Immortals of Aveum, going through chapter 6 through chapter 10 of the game. The story definitely picks up. There is some interesting new mechanics that are introduced, and we
Mhm.
get a ton of new powers. I feel like I thought we were going to end and kind of have the cap of our powers, but we just keep getting more power ups and new spells. So that's interesting for
I
sure.
don't think I got any
You get
outside of,
any?
like, the new Fury, like, I got two new Furies, I think? We'll get
Yeah,
into it.
yeah. We'll get into it. I'm your host Jared, and I'm joined just by Ben today. No Kai. Kai was out of town, and Kai forgot his laptop charger, so he could not join us for this episode. But Ben, how you doing, man?
I'm good, dog, I'm good. Yeah, work today.
Mm,
So, I sat there the whole time like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get home, I'm gonna talk about Immortals."
mm.
I've been jumping on Forza Horizon 6. We were talking about that a little bit
So jealous.
pre-recording.
So jealous.
Fucking gorgeous, man. The game is so
Oh,
gorgeous, like and I'm not saying, like, just because it's, like, Japan and I am, like, a fucking weeb, but,
I
like,
feel like that helps, though. I feel like it
it
does
does
help.
help.
Yeah.
But like just yeah, like the reflections and the way that everything's like lit, like
Oh,
doing nighttime street races through Akihabara with like flares on the side of the road and shit. Oh,
Ben, I'm
fucking
trying to
gorgeous.
save money and not buy more video games, and you're not helping. When I saw you're able to race like a mech, I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
I
I
was
have to
trying to
fucking
explain it.
play this.
I was trying to explain it to Ellie. I was like, "Yeah, you can race a giant robot," and she was like, "Why?" And I was like,
Why
"Because it's a
not?
gun." I was like, "It's a fucking Gundam," and she's like,
Yeah.
"I don't get it." And I was like,
Mm,
you have to be a certain like you have to be a gamer and a weeb. That's
yeah.
what it's for. It's for the gamer weebs.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so
But
jealous.
yeah,
I wanna play it.
I was talking to you like pre-recording. Like this is the first kind of game that I've decided I'm solely going to play with the steering wheel that I've got behind me.
Yeah.
Um, it's hard, dog. It's difficult.
It's just taking, like, tweaking settings-wise to get it to run properly, or is it just doesn't work
Yeah.
well with the wheel in general?
No, I think it's hard to explain. Like
Mhm.
it's kind of like simultaneously both, like because each of the
Mm.
cars have their own fine tune settings, so you can kind of fine
It's
tune
really
the
cool.
car and like whether it brakes at the front or the back and
Mhm.
how heavy it brakes and stuff like that. And then also you can tune like how sensitive the steering is, but like
Yeah.
not just like they have like a wheel dead zone for inside steering and outside. It's so fucking complex. Like
Wow, that does sound
although it's
complicated.
although it's an arcade racer, like when you plug in a wheel, it kind of has simulation
It just
elements
changed
to
to a
it.
sim, that's crazy.
And also my thing as well is like I just keep slamming the throttle. I need to learn throttle control. That is like
I feel like
because
we
it
were
doesn't
practicing a
matter.
little bit that when we played Need for Speed, although I don't think it was as did you do Need for Speed with the wheel?
I started and then I was like, this is overkill. And I was like Need for Speed Heat was not made for like a wheel in
Like a
mind.
full wheel rig? Yeah,
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 yeah. But no, it's been great. It has been really great. I mean, I had a shit ton of problems getting it started.
yeah.
Um, the game kept crashing. I couldn't actually open it.
Oh,
I
weird.
had to
You're
I had
playing through
to
Game Pass, right?
playing for Game Pass. Googled it. Like everybody was like, yeah, they brought out this hot fix, and like I just can't open my game now. I had to
Fuck.
like I had to update my BIOS, update my GPU drivers, and then finally the game opened. But yeah, if you have the ability to play it and you're even remotely interested in racing games, play it. It's so fucking good.
Yeah, I think if anything, the Need for Speed season kind of I already liked racing games, but it kinda reinvigorated my, like, love for racing
Mhm.
and what those, like, games
And
meant to me, so
I feel like as somebody who's like played like arcade races, somebody who's played
Sim.
sim like Assetto Corsa is like the one I play, which is like ultra fucking sim. You like have to control the amount of fuel because it impacts how heavy your car is and how it turns. Like
Yeah,
it's like ultra sim racing. This is like a really nice bridge in between though,
yeah.
because like you can kind of fine tune and adjust stuff, but also you can just like be arcadey. And I mean, I'm trying to drive with like no traction control, no stability
Oh, so you're
control,
going, like,
manual shifting, like
none of
no
the man, that's
assist.
crazy.
Like, yeah, yeah. Um, and I tell you, this game is very like it is very humbling.
Yeah.
As
Oh,
to like go from driving like a normal car to like
to
getting into like a fucking Lamborghini Huracan. and slamming your foot on as you turn a corner and
Just
wondering
peeling
why
out.
it spins.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited. I'm glad people are enjoying it. I've seen lots of people play it too. Lots of people are streaming it, and I'm jealous. I want to play more. And yeah, this entire time I've been listening to you. The entire time I've been distracted by my camera. You people at home that aren't watching on YouTube or Spotify, I had camera issues, and now my camera placement makes me look like a tiny person, and I hate it. But here we are. I'm
Hey,
a small man today.
you might not even notice because I might have been able to in post fix it. And I told you once I zoom in, I don't think they'll even know, dog.
Watch it be. It's just worse. Yeah. I'll speak for Kai too because we both have been playing this, but we've been playing through the unofficial fan-made PC port of The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, done
Yes, how's that been?
from the Twilight Realm team. Dude, it's so good. Twilight Princess was already I had it up there as one of my favorites, like top 3, and I didn't play through it in a little while too. But booting it back up, and it could just be like the shiny bells and whistles of the quality of life stuff, and it being natively meant for like widescreen, doesn't have the 4:3 ratio, it looks a lot better. But dude, it's so good. Just the beginning, I've only put like an hour or 2 into it. Just the beginning of it is so good. I debated on like, should I not play this, and should we do like a podcast season for it, because there may still be an episode about Twilight Princess and just in general, like a kind of conversation around these groups of people that come together and just create things. Because again, this is a not running on an emulator, although you can run Dusk on like Dolphin if you have an emulator. This is a native PC reverse engineered version of Twilight Princess, which I don't even know how that shit. I don't even know how that works. I don't even know
thought it was a dolphin mod. I thought like somebody had modded a dolphin or something.
No, this is a PC port. This works on. It has its own separate like game and everything. Not the same team, but the different team did this for the first 3 Jack and Daxter games. But pretty much is they get the code and they re-engineer it to work on PC. How they do that, I don't fucking know. That's some programming wizardry that I'm too dumb to know how to do, but it is so cool. It is so, you can run it through Dolphin, and there actually is some like mods that up the resolution, some of the character models, and it doesn't work through, it works through Dolphin, not through this PC port, although there is some that help with some of the resolution stuff. But it's so good. It's reminding me why I have Twilight Princess as one of my favorite games, because it's just it's so good, man.
Oh, dude, it's one of those ones I need to play.
It's good. It's easy. I thought it was gonna be difficult, but downloading it is easy. It's just moving like files through folders, and then the mod stuff is easy too. You just download the mod and then just dump it in a mod folder. Like, it took me less than 10 minutes to set this whole thing up, and then you could play around with. They have mods and stuff, like I said, quality of life stuff through the actual settings of the game, which you could do too, and it's good. This one gives Link a little more like agency before he's just like a knight, right? In Twilight Princess, he's just lives in a village and he's a farmer. He's like a farm boy, and then he kind of gets roped into being part of the whole like destroying the world and part of the kingdom and everything. But he starts off as just like, he's just a guy. He's just some dude that lives in a village, which is cool.
Hell damn.
Yeah.
I saw you raving about it in the Discord. Yeah, that and Pokemon Conquest. Conquest looks so interesting.
Dude, Conquest is so good. I'm playing it I'm going to be on a show that I'm going to be talking about it. I'm recording it soon, so it probably won't be out for a couple of months. But Pokemon Conquest is one of the spinoffs that I took a long time getting into. I love Mystery Dungeon. I've played that. Played a little bit of Pokemon Ranger, but I never got around to Conquest. And it really is like Fire Emblem, Final Fantasy Tactics, but Pokemon. Yeah, and so you have like cool. You have like a grid that has verticality, and you're moving Pokemon along the grid, and you're using moves, and every Pokemon has different like abilities that help with movement and buffs and moves, and all of the I've like posted some of the Discord, but like the character art is like crazy anime characters. Like it very much leans into like the Fire Emblem with some of the characters. It's so good. I'm probably like 10 or 11 hours into it, and I'm having a blast. You can really get into like the minutia of grinding and finding. There's like a thing called perfect links, where like certain Pokemon will go good with certain warriors, and trying to find the right ones and link them together, which will help level them up and everything. It's really cool.
Damn.
Play Twilight Princess, play Pokemon Conquest, just play Nintendo games. That's my
Nintendo needed a push. That's like,
they've been on the down recently, so Nintendo needs a little help from your boy. It has been a long time since we played through a Nintendo game for the main book club, Has been a while.
It has been.
Maybe it's time.
It's not going to be my next pick.
Damn it. I already know the ones you're thinking about, and none of them are Nintendo games or even remotely close to Nintendo
There's
games.
two,
either,
and I can't pick. I cannot
then
pick.
you know which one you should do.
But that could be either.
There's one that's newer, and that's the one
Yes.
I'm particularly interested in. Although the other one I am curious about because it is similar to another game we've played before. So both of them I'm very interested
That's the
in.
thing. One is kind of like one part of me wants to go with the curiosity, and then the other part, like the content SEO goblin, is like, oh, this will do good. Yeah.
The problem is we're so far ahead that the SEO might not matter in like September
that's the other side of
when
it.
this drops.
That's the thing, and like other people, like people listening, are like, "What the fuck are they talking about?"
Yeah. Also, sorry everybody for the like schedule thing. I think by this time the schedule is fine, but it is fucking all over the place as we were moving things around and not sure when things were gonna go up when. So apologies for that.
I think we've got it nailed.
Yeah.
I think we're okay now.
Yeah, I think at this point everything is pretty much set in stone. But like all of March or all of like May and a little bit into June, it was just like, hey guys, post production Jared here. We're not doing that next week. We're doing this next week instead.
I think we only did it like twice.
Twice?
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we've done too many. Give us a bit of credit, dog.
Okay, you're right. Okay, Ben. Well, let's get into some housekeeping before we jump into this because I've taken notes. There's going to be some structure to this, but there is a shit ton of information to talk about for this chapter. First, chapter 6 through 10, I was like, that's not that many chapters. It'll be fine. It was long. This is like a bulk of my playthrough so far. I think you said you've clocked in like 12 hours in Immortals, and I'm like 9 or 10. I would say majority of that time has just been this section, has been these 5 chapters or so.
I'd say the good I'd say for me at least like 5-6 hours in these chapters.
For sure. Yeah. Yes, whether again this is your first episode or episode number 317, welcome to Play Along Podcast. We're the podcast that plays through games in a book club format. What we usually do, myself, Kai, and Ben, we each take turns playing through a game. Then we break that game into sections, and we come together to talk about each of those sections specifically. Playing games alone is boring. So you should grab the game, join the conversation, and play along with us. We have a thread in the Discord for the very specific book club games that we're playing through. So you can jump in there and have conversations with other people that are also playing through this game and talk about the the craziness that is this narrative. And God, we'll get to it, but there is like, I hadn't been hit with like the cringy dialogue yet. But there's some sections in here that are just so. We'll get to a character named Rook later on. The whole interaction the whole interaction with Rook was just awful. It was just written awfully. So we'll get into it. We'll get into it for sure. On top of the book club, we also do another side series on the show called Get Wrecked, where one of us from Play Along is joined by a guest and we swap video game recommendations. The next upcoming episode, which is going to be next week's episode, I'm going to be joined by Gianni from the Content Mill podcast, and we're going to be talking about Indica and Super Mario Odyssey. Which is two very different games.
Dude, let me know what you think of Indica, because that has been on my fucking playlist for like about a year and a half.
Oh, so you haven't played it yet?
No.
Oh, okay. When I was talking to him and we were bouncing back and forth and swapping backlogs and doing games, he said that Indica was his game of the year last year when he had played through it. And I had thought that you had played through it, or you were like showed interest in playing through it or something.
Yeah, so I came off the back of like playing this FMV called Erica, which is a really, really great FMV. People should go and play. And I saw about Indica, and obviously you'll get into like you get wrecked about like the story about how like a girl goes to a nunnery and is like kind of going through like what that means and stuff. And it just seemed really, really. I mean, the cover art is like really fucking.
The game looks. I was gonna screenshots. The game looks beautiful. Like it is a gorgeous looking game.
It mixes like FMV with like first person, right?
I think so. I have no clue. I have no idea.
Okay. But it looks really cool either way.
Yeah, I remember you talking about it and being really interested in it too. Hey, if you want to play it to prep for this episode, it's on PS Plus, so it's free if you have that subscription. I don't know if it's on Game. It's on Game Pass. Oh, there you go. It's on Game Pass too. So yeah, we're gonna be talking about that and Super Mario Odyssey, which again,
vastly different games.
Very different games. But it's funny. I recommended him Odyssey selfishly, just because I had already been wanting to jump back into it because I hadn't played through it since it's launched, and
Mm.
which we'll probably have conversations about it. That game's almost 10 years old, which is also crazy.
Fuck, what?
Next year, Mario Odyssey launched with the Switch, which is 10
God.
years old next year. Isn't that
Do
fucking
you know
crazy?
do you know what's crazy as well is, like, I mean, we're just shooting shit now, but, like, I I said in the Discord, like, I've been trying to get back into, like, working out, and I was like, easy
Yeah.
way to ease into it, I'm gonna boot up Ring Fit Adventure for the Switch, which is, as it turns out, not easy.
Dude,
Um,
Ring Fit's hard. It is a hard game.
Fucking hard, but, like, it kinda prompted me to, like, actually, like, I'd not touched my Switch for, like,
Mm,
maybe a year, and I was like, "Dude, what the I've got, like, I've got the Mario 3D,
yeah.
pack, you know, like, the 64 Sunshine and
And Galaxy?
Galaxy.
Yeah.
Wanna play through those. I've got Spark of Hope to play through. Um, I got The Escapist 2, which is, like, a really cool game that I wanna play. And then I picked up my Pro controller, and I was like, "Fuck, I forgot how good the Switch Pro controller
Dude,
is."
the Switch 2 Pro Controller is even better. The Switch 2 Pro Controller
Really?
is so good, yeah.
It's like 360-esque, but with, like, a new
Mhm.
layout, like, and it's got just the right weight to it. It's not too heavy, it's not too
Yep.
bulky. Yeah, yeah, underrated controller, I
Yeah,
think.
I did the same thing similarly a while ago where I booted up my Switch and you obviously have like your menu of the games you have installed. But I looked back and I was like, I have all these games I had no idea that I had. I forgot that I had. I picked up like the Blob 2 at one point. I
Damn.
have oh gosh, what is it called? It had a sequel like 2 years ago. It's like a big open world RPG fantasy.
It could be, like, any of
I know it could be
400 games.
anything. I'm not even gonna Google it because I don't even have enough
Is it,
to.
is it an exclusive? It's not
No.
like a Xenoblade, is it? Or
No, no, no,
okay.
no, no, and it's a third party game. It dropped, like, 2 years ago, and it was big the sequel dropped, like, 2 years ago on everything, and people were playing it. The sequel is not on Switch, the first one's on Switch. It's like the tip of my tongue. I can, like, feel it, but I don't remember what it's called. Regardless, I had a lot of games on Switch that I didn't realize I had, and again, it's wild that that console is, for some people, quote, unquote, "retro" soon.
Mhm.
I know I think we had a conversation where we decided that 20 years was retro.
Yeah, I think
We
for
may
us,
we
yeah,
may we may keep moving that goalpost as we get older and older, but, like, "That's not
for sure.
retro. That's
Yeah.
not retro at all." Oh, man. Okay, well, let's get into the content for the today, going through Immortals of Aveum chapter 6 through 10. If you missed last week's episode, at the end of that, we kind of wrapped up becoming an immortal. We met Jack, we got introduced to the world, we got introduced to the kind of conclave of immortals, which is kind of the militia in this world, Sandrakk, and who is the main bad guy, and everything like that. And at the end of that, we did become an immortal. So the start of this chapter 6 is, and this whole section really is trying to hunt down a very specific person. Most of this is hunting down fuck, I had his name on here and I forgot. Thaddeus, which was
Mhm.
a predecessor to Kirkin, who Kirkin is the leader of the Immortals. Thaddeus is the previous person there. So most of this is hunting down him. And chapter 6, we really get our first official assignment as an immortal, which Kirkin has us go investigate some Rosharnian activity in the Pale Forest. The Pale Forest, which this kind of first introduces a lot of the, and we got it a little bit in the last episode too. We're going to do a lot of kind of backtracking through pre-existing
Mhm.
levels that we have been to before. I don't think the Pale Forest we have gone to, but we go through a lot of similar areas to get to the Pale Forest. And the Pale Forest still is very much the same environmentally we've seen. It's the forest, it's
I
that kind of
think
thing too.
I think the Pale Forest was the, section we were in when we first saw the Hand of Sandrakk, because this is what that
Yeah,
chapter is, where the Hand of Sandrakk raised that statue through the
yeah.
I think we were in the Pale Forest when that happened.
Mhm.
And interestingly, I said about this at the end of the first episode. I was like, "Oh, we've got this green magic. I want to see some like health stuff and blah, blah." And we go with Kirkin, and Kirkin does a lore drop, which we'll get to in a minute. But we get the restore spell,
Yeah.
which allows us to get rid of the lurge. Is that what he calls it?
Yeah,
The
he calls
purple stuff.
it sounds like it's like a specific term for like the people. that he grew up around. Like, they called it the lurd. I don't know if
Mm.
that's what everyone
Oh,
calls
okay.
it, but we've seen it before. It's kind of like the purple, like, infected, the gross-looking stuff that's blocking things. We've
Yes.
seen it throughout the different levels before, but, yeah, now essentially we have the way of breaking that down, which, if you don't
Mm.
know, breaking that down creates demon snake every single time you try to break them
Yep.
down, you have to fight them, which is always
It's a
a
whole
fun
thing.
thing.
Oh,
Um
ley lines. That's what I wanted to talk about.
Oh,
God,
yes, you got some ley line information. You got
some
some
ley
outsider
line lore.
knowledge. Yeah.
Yes. I said in the last episode that I would talk to my mum about ley lines, and basically everything that she said about ley lines is what is in this game.
Yeah,
Um,
Immortals knows their shit. They did
so
some research.
ley lines are these like I said, they're these lines that I thought it was just in England. I think the theory originated in England, but they're like
Mm,
worldwide. The belief is that like all of the big structures in the world are built on a ley line. So Stonehenge is on a ley line, the
mhm,
pyramids of Giza, and they're supposed to be sites where the idea is if you build or if you was to perform a ritual or whatever on a ley line, you could tap into that power.
mhm,
Um, and the way it was described to me is like it would essentially be like plugging something directly into the power grid rather than plugging it into your house, like that kind
mm,
of untapped energy. Um, and so people would use ley lines to do big rituals and things like that. We spoke about off air there was a belief that you could travel along ley lines, that you
which
could,
we can get to
which does come
eventually.
up,
Yeah.
um, that you could like astrally travel along and go to another area and kind of like gather magic from an area and bring it back with you. Um, Anyone who's interested in this sort of stuff, like Aleister Crowley was like a really big, like self-proclaimed. I don't want to call him a magician, like a wizard, a sorcerer. I don't know what you would call him
Mm,
um, who wrote a lot of stuff about like the occult, and he was very heavily involved in like the Satanic Temple when that first started.
yeah.
But yeah, ley lines are a real kind of
This
thing
is
in the world of magic, and
yeah.
and they're actually it's pretty fucking. The only thing that wasn't lore accurate was that my I know that she may be wrong. She is wrong sometimes, but my mum said that to her knowledge, there aren't different types of ley lines for different types of magic. There is just
Mm,
like
just
a
ley lines
people
that
would
create magic.
yeah, people would use them for different purposes. So some people would use them for like rituals about the earth and kind of like
Mm,
being one with nature. Some people would use them to like travel or whatever, like astrally travel. Like they had different uses, but it wasn't like in the game where you had like a chaos ley line, a force ley line.
mm.
That's unique to
They probably
this.
weren't
But
like
other than that, they did their research. It seems they know their
yeah.
shit.
They probably were using their magic whips to kind of like grind rail throughout the ley
Yes.
lines either. No, this is wildly fascinating. This makes me feel like if I randomly found out there was like a group of people that like believed like Hogwarts was real and like had like magic and stuff like this world of fantasy
Mm.
or types of fantasy, but based in some real
Well,
world practices is really cool.
it was really interesting as well because, like, what she was saying was like the belief is that these sites have like an energy about them, and that's why people would travel. So, like,
Mm.
she was saying, like, this is dark, but like, she was saying that like there's like a ley line that runs near Auschwitz in Germany,
Oh, interesting.
which has a lot of not like negative energy, obviously, because of
Yeah.
what happened there. And the idea was that, like, if you wanted to do something nefarious, you could, in theory, I'm saying in theory,
Yeah.
but the belief is that you could astrally travel along a ley line to Auschwitz, harvest that negative energy, bring it back, and then use that to cast some sort of like
That's
nefarious
crazy.
ritual and stuff like which will be interesting to see if it comes up because the next chapter, like in Nocia, there's a lot of stuff that happens, and we find out there was different worlds where they've tried to
Yeah.
harness magic from binding stones and it's gone wrong and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see if like
Or even
this kind of lingering
absorbing
magic, like
yeah.
lingering magic comes up.
Or even the idea of like absorbing elements and like
Yeah,
places of magic too, because that happens in these next few chapters too. But that's crazy. Look at you, Ben.
yeah,
I was doing field research for this
I know,
podcast, you know?
right?
Look at that. Look at that.
But the lore drop that Kirkin gives us
Yeah.
is essentially that the wound, this kind of rift that is underneath, that was underneath Seren and is kind of slowly opening, is what gives us access to magic in the world. The ley lines come from the
Yeah.
wound, and then the other side of the wound is the shrouded realm. Is that what they call it?
It is the Shrouded Realm. I don't remember if it's directly like Other Side of the Wound is that, but
I
the
can't remember. It's
Shrouded
something like
Realm,
that.
yeah, but also that us using magic expands the wound. The wound
That was the
continues to
big thing.
spread, which I think we kind of had like theorized or something last week's episode. That was kind of the case, but
Hmm.
which Jack presumably is like, well, what the hell? Why don't we all just stop using magic? And it's that,
Yeah.
we all got nukes. If no one
Ye
used the
I
nukes,
was
then
literally
that's kind of
like,
like, yeah.
when I was fucking like listening to it, I was like, this is like being like, oh, fossil fuels are destroying the world. Why are
Yeah.
we all using fossil fuels? It's like, but we need fossil fuels to survive. Like, is that kind of,
Well, in this too,
we're
it's
in a
like,
war with like magic. So like if
yeah,
one side stops using magic, they're gonna lose that
they
war.
get defeated, and Kirkin's
Yeah,
like, "Well, we're not going to
exactly.
give up," and it's like, well, we're not giving up. It's the thought of just like, if I stop doing magic, someone else is still going to. So why should I stop using magic if he's not
Yeah,
going to stop using magic? And it's this
yeah.
big vicious
The
cycle.
hubris of human nature.
Yeah, yeah, Jesus. But yes, we do get tasked to go explore some Rasharnian activity in the Pale Forest. We tag along with what's her
Zendara.
Zendara,
I was gonna
who's
call her Zendaya, but it's not.
Zendaya. I mean, she's Zendaya. She has like
She's a
the same build and the same, maybe less like aggressive as Zendaya is, but I mean, pretty much. Um,
Zendaya is in like from like Spider-Man. That's what I was. Who are
oh,
you thinking? Are you
wait,
thinking
who's
Zarya from Overwatch?
I am thinking of okay, that's that's who I was thinking of. As I was saying it, it felt wrong, but I was like, I'm dumb sometimes. It could
I was
just
like,
be wrong.
yeah, the big aggressive Zendaya.
I meant Zarya. Zarya from Overwatch is who I was thinking of. When you said Zendaya, that's the character that popped into my head.
Okay, right.
Yeah. That character, not the actress Zendaya. Very different in their personifications of each other. But she's taking lead on this. Her and Jack always are butting heads, anyways. The first thing I wanted to talk about here too is we get into a situation where we're essentially trying to hold one of the Risharnians hostage. This is where we get the power to kind of use this green magic to
Mhm.
essentially operate some of the these big like stone mechs that are walking around too. And when we have one of these Risharnians hostage, he says things like, "Oh, you like evil Lucians are at it again." Like it
Mhm.
almost seems like, which we kind of had this theory too, but like Rasharn maybe isn't evil, but they also see Lucians as just like they are these evil people that are trying to take hold of magic too.
Yeah,
It seems more black and white than like Rasharn evil, Lucian good, which is
yeah,
kind of what we were thinking of before.
yeah. It's like a tale old as time, really, isn't it? It's like
Yeah.
both sides hate the other side, even though they're both doing the same thing. Like they're just as
Hmm.
bad as each other.
Yeah.
Um, Rishanians think the Lucians are evil and vice versa, and there's no
Yeah.
real kind of like
Yeah.
evidence to prove otherwise.
It
But
also might be just like a history thing too, because this war has been going on for thousands of years. I think a lot of
Mhm.
pop culture does this, where it's like, oh yeah, we grew up thinking these people are evil, so we just always think these people are evil, and no
Yeah,
one actually remembers the reason why there's actually a
yeah,
war that's
yeah.
happening in the first place, other than like
But
they're
like,
trying to take magic and we're trying to take magic.
is this when Zendara just like kills the dude?
Yeah, she just like shoots him with
She
her
just
red magic and
outright
just
kills
kills him.
him.
Yep, yep.
Of course, she's a red magic user as well. Like that, I feel like that tracks.
That
Like,
that very much tracks. I feel like their magic color is like their astrological signs and everything. Like she's
it
a
is
very
kind of that. Like,
specific. Oh,
yeah,
you're a red
yeah,
magic? Oh yeah, you are definitely red magic energy for
yeah, yeah.
sure. Yeah, that's funny. Um, but no, I like this level. It gets into it more throughout some of these later chapters, but I really love the verticality in this game. Like it adds a lot more to kind of the combat when you're messing around with kind of the verticality and doing things like that. I'm still, at least at this point, I'm still red magic. Red magic all the way,
Still,
baby. I'm still using red magic. It changes up later on. I get some more green magic spells that I start to utilize, and I found it really fun using blue magic because something we learned that I don't think we touched on the last episode is each magic color, which is our weapons, has like three variety of weapons throughout
mhm,
each of them. So like there's different kinds of weapons and magic that you can use within the colored magic itself. And the blue one has one where you kind of like hold this lightning bolt and toss it back. does more damage, but you only get like 4 shots, and it takes a lot to kind of charge it up and throw it. I really liked using that because I like the challenge of like trying to hit shots, and also when you're using it against some of the blue creatures, which will do more damage if you try to match the colors up with the correct monsters. It does a shit ton if you can actually nail
Mm.
them with that too. But
Yeah.
it
Is it
also
called the
is like
javelin or?
the javelin, and that's like kind of what it
Yeah.
is. It is almost like you're hurling a javelin of energy of blue magic at them too. So I really liked using those. Just they weren't great for. There's a lot of time specific puzzles, and those are not great to
Mhm.
use for that.
No.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, so I'm using the strike bolt for blue. I'm still a green main. Um,
Mm.
I can't remember what the weapon is called. I
It's
think it's called
another. It's
a
another
maelstrom or
maelstrom.
something.
Maelstrom.
Yeah, you have these like seeker shards that are kind of like these homing
Mm.
missiles that you
Hmm.
have to be kind of aiming at the person. It doesn't like you can't just aim off to the side and it goes around.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't really like that. I like this kind of maelstrom because it's just like a Gatling gun.
Hmm.
And with the red, I think I'm using the breach fire, which is like a shotgun.
Yeah,
But
that's
I
what I'm
did
doing
have
as well.
one called a frag fire that like you sort of shot and it like almost shot out this like grenade of red energy that then exploded.
Oh,
Um
interesting. I've been only using the breach fire. That's been my
the
main
breach
source
fire
of.
is better because the frag fire is kind of like the javelin. It does a shit ton of damage if you hit them, but
Mm. You
some of
have to
these
hit them.
enemies move so fast you have to hit them. That's the
Yeah.
kind of problem. And I feel like with the breach fire, it's like using a shotgun. Like even if they move to the side, the shotgun's still gonna hit them.
Yeah.
But the breach fire is no, the frag fire, sorry, is a bit of a tricky one.
Yeah, that's the one I've been playing around with. The green one, I got a new one recently that I haven't used. Most of them have been like the green operates as like an SMG, but I got one that has
Mhm.
like 4 shots and it shoots like a ball of green energy that travels towards them too. I forgot what it's called,
Ooh.
but yeah, I was like, oh, I had not actually seen this type of green magic, and that's kind of been my the one I've been using mostly too.
And I'm just looking through. So the Hand of Sandrakk is basically a lot of exploration, and
Yeah.
we kind of are going through the Pale Forest. There's a lot of like, I guess you call them gauntlets, like areas where you can't progress until you defeat an enemy wave.
Yep.
And this is when we get introduced to one of my least favorite enemies so far until we get to a later chapter. But the green mage that can like
Mm.
fucking blink forward and teleport.
Not only that, but just like they're the ones that throw like the green grenades that kind of
Yeah,
like stun you as you're getting hit
yeah.
by them too.
They
Yeah, those are a
fucking
pain
hit
in the
hard,
ass.
dog.
Yeah, you can
And I think one
shoot
of them's
them
like a
and
mini
stop
boss,
them,
right?
but yeah, I was gonna say the first mini boss we get is a green Magnus, who
That's
is
it.
a mini boss we have to fight right before we get to the main boss fight for this section. But yeah, dude, the green like the wizard guys are awful. I hate
Yeah.
it. It's disorienting every single time getting hit by those green magic things.
Yeah, and as soon as like they also kind of like they hit you and then they like blink like 4 times and you're like, where the fuck have they gone? Like I've
That
lost where they
happens with the
are.
blue ones too, the little blue ones that will just, like, float in the
Oh,
air
the
and
wispy fins.
yeah, they're, like,
Yeah.
very wispy too, especially trying to use the javelin on them. Oh, dude.
Oh, yeah.
But when you hit
Those
those
are the.
shots, oh, it feels so
Oh yeah,
satisfying.
it does. It does
Feels
like
so good.
90% of their health, but I resorted to like pulling them in with a blue whip and just breach
Yeah.
firing them in the face, just like shotgun. Kind of like a
Yeah.
roadhog, really. Actually, to be honest, like I'm just hooking them in and
This
shooting
is
them.
what I'm hearing is Immortals is just Overwatch. That's what I'm
It's
hearing.
just
It's
Overwatch.
just Overwatch. Um, I do wanna get towards the end of this chapter and talk about kind of some of the revolutions that happen here.
Mhm.
So we kinda continue following the Rasharn and their activity throughout the place, and we get into this cave and we see Sandrakk. He's here. He's here and he's using the last episode, the hand of Sandrakk, the kind of right hand, had found this like crystal, which we learned is a binding stone. And he's using this binding stone on something down here. Two things. First of all, Sandrakk turns around, takes off his mask. Dude's like a human, which
He looks
I
like
did
what's
not.
his name from The Office? The guy who plays Jim from The Office. What's his name?
John Krasinski.
Yeah, he kind of looks like John Krasinski in a
I
way.
guess,
Like,
yeah, yeah, a little bit. I'm
have you
I'm
got it
pulling
up?
up.
It's like John Krasinski's dad or something.
Hold on, let me. I
Um,
had I had a screenshot of his
hang on, wait, I got it
face.
here. Hang on, wait.
I don't know. I guess maybe a little bit.
Like I'm sharing it. Look.
Yeah, I can see it. It's definitely his mouth too. I feel like his mouth
Yeah, yeah.
placement is very much
He's
John
a handsome
Krasinski.
dude. He might be
Uh,
evil, but he's
okay.
handsome.
Theories. This is Jack's
Mhm.
dad. That is my
Ooh.
theory. Is Sandrakk is Jack's dad?
Mm.
Jack has no parents in the beginning, doesn't know what happened to his parents. Sandrakk, I mean, kinda I feel like he could be Jack's dad. I feel
Mhm.
like he has, like, the same facial features as
Because
Jack
he's a white
too.
man with hair, is that
Yeah,
what
he's a
it
white man
is?
with brown hair, so obviously he's Jack's dad.
I
Um,
mean, that's not a bad shout. I thought that, it was gonna be that him and Kirkham were lovers, and that they
oh,
had a falling out because of their,
because
like,
of their romantic,
differences in or, like, differences in how magic should be used, because that's
yo,
kind of one of the big things about Sandrakk.
yeah.
Um,
We'll keep
but I
going
could
down
see
that thought. Wait, that doesn't work. I was like, that would mean Kirkin is his mom, and Jack is very much a white man. That does not work. Kirkin is a black character. That does not work. But the second relation we got is we find out that Sandrakk was an immortal. He was part of the
Mhm.
immortals, and he left because of a difference in, I guess, how to go about dealing with the whole magic situation, with the whole wound situation. It's interesting because Sandrakk controls Rasharn. So
Mhm.
who was doing that before he had moved over? Was there someone else that was controlling the Rasharnians? Was there not even a split? Did the Rasharnians come out from this difference in opinion and how to go about using magic between
Which
like
would be
Kirkin and Sandrakk?
which would be crazy, because like, how old would they have to be for that? Because I mean, this
That's
has been
true.
going on for
It's
tens of
thousands.
thousands of years.
Yeah, this is thousands of years this war has been going on too. So I guess you're right. That I don't think that would necessarily work. Someone must have been the head
Unless
of the Rasharnian army before Sandrakk
un
was.
unless Sandrakk is kinda like Kirkan is, where, like, Rasharn has a king or an emperor or something,
He's kind of
and he
operating
is,
as
like,
like
the
the head
general
for
of the
the.
army or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
I could see that. But the
but
crazy that he was an immortal.
he was an immortal, and he basically is like, "I know all the shit that Kirkan's feeding you,"
Yeah,
and he's like, "This war isn't gonna stop until one side basically controls magic."
yeah. Because what he's trying
And
to do with the
low-key, I
Divining
was kinda
Stones.
like, I'm not saying he should be the dude to control magic,
He's
but
kinda
he's
right.
kinda right.
Yeah. Moral is like neither of us should be using this, is what I've learned. It's
Yeah,
just like you use this magic, you destroy the world. But you're fighting to save the world that you're destroying by using magic that you're fighting.
yeah.
It's a big old big
It's a
old
massive some sort of paradox. I don't know what it
yeah.
is, like the Immortals of Aveum
Yeah.
paradox. It makes no
Someone needs to
sense.
step in, maybe Jack, and be like, just stop.
Yeah,
Have we
can you
thought about
not?
that? Can we just not? Oh, Boomy's investigating
Is
the
she
crib.
gonna get
Let's
in the
see her.
crib?
Let's see if she'll jump in the crib.
Yeah, no.
No, she's just gonna sit right here. The piano used to be right here, so you still. Oh god, Boomy's.
God, Boomy.
Oh god, she's gonna knock shit over trying to get in there. Well, you'll see my cat eat shit in real time. um, yeah, that was a crazy revelation. I'm still holding on to my theory, which we don't have answers to just yet, that Sandrakk is related to Jack in some capacity.
I could see that being true.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
is this when he like absorbs what we learn? He absorbs a font, right? Like he.
oh, Boomy. She got into the crib. She just knocked a bunch of shit down. Are you gonna be stuck in there now? Are you gonna be able to
Yeah,
get out?
100%.
Oh my god, this cat. Um,
Oh no,
it's
he wants to absorb the font, which is the thing that is in
yes,
front of him,
he
and
does
that's what he
absorb it.
needs to bind. He does, but in the meantime, we have the fight with the Hand of Sandrakk.
Yes,
Um,
which this one was fine. I enjoyed much more the fight after, which is the
oh yeah,
exalted
100%.
construct, which is a lot of fun. But yeah, we kind of just toss blue magic at the hand of
She's
Sandrakk, and she shoots her blue magic back at us and everything.
she's kind of just like a. I'd equate her more to a mini boss, because like all I
Yeah.
kind of did was like she landed and has this blue bubble around her. So you hit her with the blue fury, which
Hmm.
sounds really cool. But you hit her with this blue, you hit her with a blue fury, and that burst the bubble, and then I just fucking melted her with the green
Yeah,
magic.
I did too. There's no problem.
And
There was no problems here.
it went over
Um,
really quickly.
The exalted construct is cool because it's a giant construct, and this gave me very much like old 2000s platformers vibe.
Mhm.
I noticed as Jinx jumped off my desk, my camera has now skewed a little bit more, so it's we're fucked all together today. Um, but the construct will have different colored crystals throughout its body, and you have to use your specific magic on each one of those crystals while dodging. This guy's
Mhm.
huge too. He's massive.
Oh
His
yeah.
body, like you're standing on this ledge, and his half of his torso kind of takes up with his like torso and arms at the top of this. So he's huge, and you have to hit all the magic where
And
they are accurate.
But Sandrakk uses our construct. That's what I was gonna say.
Oh
We
yeah,
have
yeah,
like a
yeah.
construct dude who's with us, and that's what the exalted construct becomes.
Mhm.
I fucking love this. This was the best boss fight of this game so far.
And I think even going through most of these going forward, this was definitely one of my favorite ones. I think there's some other fun boss fights that we do, but the Exalted Construct I think is the
It
best one
was
we've done so far.
it was having to like destroy each of the crystals with the correct color magic.
Yeah.
At least I think that's what you had to do. That's what I
Yeah.
assumed. So, um, but there was something about it. It does have like a big, like you said, like a 2000s 3D platformer kind of
Yeah.
vibe to it.
Well,
Um,
it's not only that, but it's just like this whole time you can kind of strong arm whatever. Like I said, I've been using red magic mostly, and you
mhm.
can still fight other colored enemies. It just usually doesn't take as much damage if you use one colored magic. This forces you to use your whole like inventory of magic. You have to use all three colors of magic to hit all these specific parts while you're dodging, while you're using your shield. I keep forgetting my shield is a thing and have to keep reminding myself to use
Interesting.
the shield all the
I keep
time.
forgetting about my blink because I now
Oh, dude,
have
I blink.
3 blinks.
Yep, yeah, I have three as well.
From like gear and stuff like that. But yeah, I always remember the shield. I always forget the blink. I feel like the blink is really underwhelming. I think we said this last episode, but
Yeah, I wish it I was hoping that there'd be, and we haven't seen it yet, there'd be some way of upgrades where you can have like, you
blink
can go
distance or
further
something.
distance or something like that.
Hmm.
But there is ones that help with the cooldown, which I think helps my problem a little bit because I have three, but before I had the cooldown upgrade, I just had three, and then it took like a second to 3 seconds to come back, and it
Hmm.
never felt like I had enough time to blink between attacks, especially because some of the enemies will like hit back and forth. Like with the Exalted Construct, he'll hit an arm down, then he'll hit another arm down, then he'll do like a slide across. And it's like there's not enough
Hmm.
time to use all three of your blinks with the cooldown for each one of them to make it efficient at all.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, best boss fight so far. It was fun. I had a I
100%.
had I had a good time. Not so
But
much
this
this,
was.
but I'm playing on Immortal, which is the hard difficulty. It's not the hardest
Mhm.
difficulty. This game gets hard. This game
Yeah.
definitely gets hard going forward, and I die a lot. But this one wasn't as bad.
No, this was kind of like pre-difficulty spike, which we'll talk about because there is a very real difficulty spike in this game. But
Mhm.
the whole boss fight was kind of for now because Sandrakk was basically just using the construct
Yeah,
as a distraction to be able to absorb this font.
yeah.
Um, and when he does so, it kind of creates this blast of magic that sends Jack into the Shrouded Realm. It kind of like puts us into what I assumed was the Shrouded Realm because the Pentasard is there,
Yeah.
which is like the kind of like main figure, that big statue that we saw that is like
I'm assuming
I
like the
think
the
the
ruler
what
of the of the
I would like
realm.
the ruler of the realm. I think the Pentasard. There's a lot of talk about the Pentasard like deciding who gets magic and where it comes from and stuff like
Yeah,
that. So it's almost this kind of like god kind of creature that lives in the shrouded realm that
yeah.
is somehow deciding who gets magic and who doesn't.
This
Um,
is where magic comes from too. Like this is where all of
yes,
our
this
magic
is.
powers come from.
But he picks us up and like shoots a psi beam into our head,
Mm,
basically. And then we land back in the realm and we're like, I don't understand what the
yeah.
fuck happened.
Yeah, and
And
Jack's pissed because no one told him anything about any of this, about Sandrakk being an immortal. Even talking to Zendara, she's just like, "Yeah, someone should have told you. Wasn't my job to tell you, but someone definitely should have told you something." And I was like, "Oh, thanks."
yeah,
Um, Going into the next chapter, Nocia, I loved this moment. So they're still they're back at like their like base camp. They're all in the war room talking about like what's their next plans to stop. Jack is telling everybody that Sandrakk got this weird crystal thing, which is the binding stone. And in the middle of their meeting, Sandrakk pulls up and through one of the portals with
such a
just like
fucking bomb
his
move.
whole gang. And I was like, oh shit, he's just here. He's just here in the
It's
war room,
such
which is
like a
crazy.
fucking I don't know how else to compare it. I kind of like hate this like but it's such like a dick on the table move. Do you know what I mean? Like it's
Sure.
just like it's like boom. I know how to get into your not just like your realm and but like your war chamber. Like
Yep.
I can get into your war chamber at any
Anytime.
time.
Yep.
And here's the hand of Sandrakk with me.
And then
Here's
this
the other
big ass
fucking
dude,
big
who's this
dude.
other guy? We still haven't
I
seen him
don't
throughout the
know.
rest of this chapter, but he
He's
looks
like
crazy.
11 foot tall. He's fucking
Yo,
massive.
you know who he looks like? Reinhardt.
It basically is right. Yeah.
It's just Overwatch. It's just Overwatch characters.
Um, and Sandrakk's basically like, yo, like I've got a fucking font in this binding stone. We're gonna meet in Nocia, and we're basically gonna sort this out.
Yeah.
And then he just leaves.
Which, according to like their lore, Nocia is kind of a neutral zone. We go there to
Yes.
kind of create peace. And as much as Sandrakk is like, they're doing one of those things to the villain where like the villain seems like the less crazy one at this point. Like
Mhm.
Kirkin seems crazy. Like
Yeah.
Sandrakk seems like, I'm fine. Let's just talk this
Well,
out.
it's
We don't need to have like bloodshed or anything like that.
yeah, it's so crazy because yeah, exactly. Sandrakk's like, I'm deliberately picking neutral ground.
Yep.
It's gonna be chill. And Kirkin's like, nah, we're sending the
We're,
fucking
we're
army,
fucking
the
jumping his
steals,
ass.
the fucking everything.
Yeah.
Um, and there's like a weird little mission where you have to like send a portal stone you have to take a portal stone to a certain person because that will basically allow this like Avengers assemble moment
Yeah.
when you get to Nocia where all the portals open and everyone comes out to ambush
Yeah.
Sandrakk.
Yeah.
And I've never like I actually agreed with Sandrakk in this kind of moment,
Yeah.
right? Because like you go there and he's like, okay, right, we're on neutral ground, we're here to talk. And Kirkin's like, nah, psych, here's the entire army. And
Yeah.
Sandrakk literally like lifts up into the air and he's like, this blood is on your hand. And
Yeah.
he just like implodes Nocia and just
Yep.
fucking destroys this entire realm.
He's like, I tried to go through this peacefully. I could have stopped you at any moment. I literally booped into your war room, but all this bloodshed for these guys and your soldiers are on your hands. I tried to do this peacefully, and I was like,
And like
shit, man, that's
the
crazy.
way it's sort of displayed is like hundreds of people died. Like this was like a massacre. Like
Yeah.
he not only destroyed this entire neutral area, but like he took out a whole bunch of the Lucinian army with him and stuff.
Mhm.
All of the kind of main immortals have survived. So us and unfortunately Davin is still with us. And
Dude, Devin's still the worst.
Devin,
The
that's it.
worst. Oh, Devin,
He's fucking
he's the
awful.
worst person. He's just like the
Um
worst character that we've seen.
and Kirkin's with us as
I
well.
would say that oh gosh, hold on, I have her name here. Kenzie's pretty damn close.
Kenzie is close, yeah.
But yeah, Devin
She's just like
Devin
female
sucks.
Devin. It's
Yeah,
fucking
they really are the same. I'm really curious how you feel because in this section, Nocia really is just that end cutscene, and it's our
mhm,
journey to Nocia, which is most of chapter 7. But in this, we get the grapple hook, which we've kind of seen these little kind of purple floating things around different levels and haven't been able to interact with them. And now we kind of get the ability to. It's just a platforming that you can kind of zip around. Um,
mhm.
I saw different people using it and talking about it for combat. I never used it for combat. And I don't know
Um,
if there's a situation where I found where I could have used it for combat.
Maybe? I don't really know.
I
I
pretty much
think
just use it for traversal purposes. I never used it for combat.
yeah, I only really used it for traversal. I think, it's fine. I think it's interesting because you essentially you have to have the blue whip equipped. That's the
Mhm.
one thing. If you've got any of the other kind of, side gadgets, I don't know what you would
Oh,
call
yeah.
them, the
We're running out
limpets,
of
you can't.
buttons, Ben.
Yes.
They have to start like being creative with buttons and multiple buttons because we've run
The
out of buttons for powers.
what I mean is, like, you can't you would think that, like, "Oh, like, I can just look at that
Yeah, if I
and
double
press a
jumped and
prompt," or,
looked
like
at it, like when
yeah,
we eventually get the ability to ride ley lines. You just look at a ley line and press the button. You don't need to use your whip. Although the whip is the
yes,
thing that you use to ride the ley lines, you don't have to physically use the whip to
yes.
do that.
Um, and I find that sometimes because essentially what it is kind of like almost like Indiana Jones in and, like,
Yeah,
pulling yourself to it instead of swinging, but I
yeah.
feel like sometimes it launches me really high, and sometimes it doesn't launch me as high, like, it's not consistent.
There's later sections we have like there's more platforming and a lot of the like secret areas have to do with using the grapple to
The
get
whip,
there.
yeah.
And there was multiple times where I just like launched in the air and then just fell down because I didn't get
Yeah,
enough like
especially
vertical momentum to make the
did you
platform.
do did you do that bit in the Underdwell, where there was, like, a massive cavern, and there were, like, 3 of these fins,
Yes. Yeah.
and then
Yeah. Yeah.
there's, like, a little shroud fame thing that you can go down, like, down below, and it
Mhm.
just gives you, like, an extra, like, mana or something. Getting
Yes, I
back
did
up
this.
from that, you have to look, like, right up. Getting back up from that, I died so many
Pain.
times
Pain in the
because
ass trying to
sometimes I
use
would,
this.
like, launch really high and then
Mhm.
land and be like, "Okay, right, I can make it." But what I found was because there was such a big gap to cover, if I double jumped and then whip, I don't have my double jump afterwards, so I had to
Mm,
time it right. So I sort of sprint, jump, whip, double jump, float,
hover.
land.
Yes, that was my approach too. Because if you double jump and float and whip, you're not going to have your stuff when you
Yeah,
are
and it
on the
doesn't.
other
Yeah,
end
it
of the
doesn't
whip.
reset on the other
Nope.
side.
Nope. Yeah.
Um, so the grapple's interesting. I feel like it's given us some cruel traversal, but like I said, it's not consistent. That's my main
Yeah,
kind of beef with it. Is
it's not consistent, and again, never used it for combat. I use it
no.
for traversal more than anything, but again, this does set up one of my favorite sections, which we'll get to, which I think is in, the next chapter. We're exploring this, like, big-ass library, which gives me very big, like, Zelda dungeon vibes to it,
Mhm.
um, but that introduces, like, a really cool level of verticality that I love with the grapple, and it's great there, but other times it's just it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
Other than that, it's just fine. Um,
So,
with
go on.
I was gonna say with having Nocia now destroyed by Sandrakk, this is kind of where we learn more about the Binding Stone and the what are the things he's absorbing called
The fonts.
the fonts. Um, Apparently, there's only one guy that really knows a lot about this, and I mentioned him in the beginning. It's Thaddeus. Thaddeus is essentially
There they are.
Forza Horizon 6 is happening outside my house. Thaddeus is essentially who Kirkin was before Kirkin took over.
Correct.
Thaddeus
Yeah.
was kind of like the head of the Immortals and has essentially defected because, again, I'm noticing a theme with people that are in the Immortals finding out more information or having kind of a friction with the way things are done in the Immortals
Mhm.
and then proceeding to leave the Immortals and go live on their own or be a
Yeah.
part of the whole fucking enemy army, which is what Sandrakk ended up doing. Um, but this is now having to track down more information about Thaddeus, in which we go to the Sky Islands of Orimin, which is kind of has again this big like library of information, which is what we're trying to track down. Devin
The
is
int
with us for most of this section after this. And Devin
Yes.
is with us the whole time, which
So, the thing that was interesting is, like, first of all, we have to travel to a place called Havenshire, and we have to learn the grapple spell, which essentially is what lets us ride the ley lines. So we go and
yes.
do that. We reach Oromon, and the kind of lore I got about Oromon was like something happened in Oromon where it kind of there was this magical explosion, and it
Mhm.
caused this like almost like um the best way I can explain it to someone who's not really playing is kind of like the upper islands in like in Breath of the
Tears of the
Wild or
Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom,
That's exactly what I was
where
thought of was like the Sky
there's
Islands
like
of Tears of the Kingdom,
yeah,
big
like there's like
chunks.
segregated chunks of rock that kind of have their own ecosystems and stuff on them.
Yeah.
For the most part, it's all desert. There's no like grass or anything, and they're inhabited by what do they call them? These like weird
Oh
construct
gosh.
creatures. They're like metal guys that we have to fight
Oh gosh.
with the spinny arms. They look like Beyblades.
I don't remember what they're called at all. I'm trying to remember what the race is up here too, because right when we get up there, we meet Kenzie, who's Kenzie is like
The home
a
of the Elori.
a Lori? A
Oh no,
Lori?
that's the Underdark. I'm looking in the wrong bit.
Um
I can't
Mc
remember what they're called.
Mackenzie's kind of like this third party group of people who want nothing to do with the war. They're not
Yes.
part of they're not Lucian, they're not Rasharnian. They're just like we don't want this war at all. We want our hands clean of any kind of war.
They're
They're
like
the third party.
yeah, yeah. If like if Rishanians are like the USSR and the Germans, and the Lucians are like the Allies, like or the Oromans are like Finland. They're
That's what
like
I was
fucking
waiting for
neutral.
a Finland joke. I was waiting
Yeah,
for that
they're
to
like
be the neutral third
neutral,
party.
like don't want anything to do with this whatsoever.
Kenzie
Um,
also sucks. She's
she
just like
sucks
this
so
is like
bad.
there's times where I'm like hooked. I'm gripped into the story. Sorry, Kai, for using the word gripped. I apologize. You're not here to yell at me for saying gripped. But like the Sandrakk and him being an immortal and like that kind of back and forth is really good.
Mhm.
And then we have like Devin and Kenzie going back and forth at like, we hate you guys because you're this race. They're like, oh, we hate you because you're just these stuck up the Lucians that think
Yeah.
they're better than. And there's like the back and forth is so forced and it's so annoying,
So
dude.
awful. But like she comes and saves us from I'm gonna call them
Those
librarians. I don't know what they're actually called, but they're they're basically like these metallic constructs
yeah,
that
and they
were
have big
made
metal
to
arms.
protect the library of
Yeah.
this planet
They
realm, whatever
also
you want to call it.
excrete metal knowledge, which is kind of like that
Yes.
they absorb information and they kind of
They
excrete
defecate
excess.
metal
Yeah.
knowledge,
Yep.
and you have to clear it. And this is a very, very interesting level because we are essentially making our way across the desert to
Mm,
find this giant library. Um, Now, I will say the actual library itself, I don't know about you, I really fucking liked this. I think you made the comparison before about Zelda. Like, it gave me
yeah.
really, really big Zelda dungeon
This
vibes.
is my favorite part of this section, is going
You have
through.
like a blocked door, and you have to go you have to go both sides first. You have to go left and right. And
Mhm.
each time you're like platforming up to other levels and clearing this metal and clearing the door. And there's some enemy waves here and there. And you're kind of using all of the things that you've gathered, but specifically like that grapple, that whip,
Yeah.
to like clear the path. And I was like, this is really fucking cool.
Not only that, but I'm curious how you feel. Orman and the library is a very distinct kind of visual environment that we've seen already. Like it's a very
Mm,
stark contrast to like the forest we've seen. It's very deserty, which we get there. There's like four different biomes that we get to in this in this section,
yes.
which is
Yeah.
crazy. But it's at least in the beginning of this, it's cool to see kind of like different environments. And again, this is all giving me big like platformer 2000s platformer
Mm.
vibes where like here's the lava level and here's the ice level and you're
It
going to
is
go to
very
these
much
different
like that.
parts,
Yeah.
not in a bad way at all. I really
No.
liked the different biomes that we get to, but no, the library was 100% my favorite favorite thing
Yeah.
to explore.
And I think I liked it as well because it kind of came off the back of Nocia, and Nocia was this like thriving community that had like buildings and houses, and it was like a proper city and a proper
Yeah.
like realm in this area. And you know, Oromon was probably that at some point, but over
Yeah.
time, when after it blew up, it was kind of like left alone. And it got me wondering. I was like, oh shit, I wonder if this is what's going to happen to Nocia. Like now,
Mm,
Nocia is just kind of floating around as this like remnants of the city. Over time, is it eventually going to
yeah.
become derelict? Is it going to become like run down like this?
Do you think, because Kenzie kind of represents like the quote unquote civilians that aren't part of the war? Do you think this is
Mm.
like an effective way of showing the kind of collateral damage from the war, where like Lucian and Rasharn are fighting, and this is kind of like this is the
No,
collateral
because
of that?
I I feel like it scratches the surface of it, right? Because
Yeah.
Kenzie is kind of like she kind of tries to be like punk, right? She's like very anti-establishment. She doesn't like
Yes.
the army, but she doesn't like the Rashanians. She thinks all of this is a stupid war. We should all just live in peace and we should all just kind of get along. But I don't think I wanted too much of it, but I think I wanted some kind of like attachment to like Kenzie being like, like this was my home. Like
Mm,
I lost family or so, kind of like Jack is with Seren now and then, but even that doesn't really get touched on as much as I think it could. But
yeah.
like we are kind of in this entire realm that is the collateral damage, like
Yeah.
it's almost like a cautionary tale because Oromon
Yeah.
is like, this is what happened when we tried to harness all the magic to ourselves.
Yep.
It should be a cautionary tale. It should be like, this is what Sandrakk or the Lucians are heading towards. And instead, it's kind of just like a realm that we travel through to get to a library.
Well, not only that, it would land better if like Kenzie showed like she shows anger towards them, but that's pretty much it. There's no like deeper emotional level to it, and it's really
Hmm.
just like Kenzie and Devon are like the tongue-in-cheek representation in this, which is just like they just joke, they poke fun at each other, and that's the extent of it. And like you said, Jack every now and then is like my home, but that's pretty much like the extent of
Yeah,
just like
pretty much.
what he does. So Kenzie was just like, "Look, I hate you guys because your war fucked this up for me. Like you
Mhm.
did this to me, and that sucks. That's why I don't like you guys." But that's not really how it's shown. She's very
No.
like
Or
edgy in how she's like
in
presenting herself.
I wonder when this happened as well, because like when we go around,
Yeah,
there's no
there's no
remnants
one
of the
here. There's no
city
people here. Nope.
no, she seems to be the only
She seems to be
person.
the she's the last person of her kind here, apparently.
But like even that isn't kind of led into like, like I
Yeah,
feel like it would have been kind of beating it a little bit too much, but I felt like it would be more emotive to almost kind of walk through the ruins of their old capital city and be
yeah.
like, like the library is in their old capital city and we have to walk through all this destruction. And then that kind of leads on to what we learned last time about Sandrakk and how he wants to control everything, and
Yeah.
Jack's kind of conflict of like the wound and all of that stuff. Like I feel like it, and I'll probably mention this again in my final thoughts, but I feel like the theme I'm getting with this game is that it's too rushed. This should be
Mm.
like a 30-hour RPG. I feel like this should be maybe not 30, that's a bit long,
I
but
was
like
like, brother, I don't know if I can do 30.
um at least like plot wise. Like
Sure.
I think I said it before, like like it feels like there was a whole world, there was a whole IP franchise
It
planned.
seems like a pre-existing like lore that we would like. There'd be books and novels about this, and
Yes.
they made a game about it, right? There's like a
Yes,
pre-existing lore,
exactly.
which there is not. There's no
No.
pre-existing lore. Um,
And so, like, you're kind of walking through Orem, and you're like, "Oh, cool, a desert." And then you get to a library,
yeah,
and you do the cool platforming section, and then Kenzie's back, and
yeah.
Kenzie's like, "Yeah, follow me. Like, I'll take you to his room. It's cool."
Yeah. I know you had talked about it in our Discord back and forth of with this boss fight you were kind of like not lukewarm on, but at the end of this, when we
Oh,
get into
yes.
we fight the Archon. And this is where my difficulty started because playing on Immortal, this is hard. I really
Really?
liked this boss fight because
Mhm.
unlike most of our enemy encounters, which kind of sets up for future chapters, this is a very close encounter. We are in a very
Mm.
small room that has a handful of pillars where you can stop kind of getting hit. I will say that once I figured out the kind of mechanic of him, it was pretty easy. The Archon is this giant kind of he has like the body of like the metal that we've been seeing
Mm.
around, and we can't really do damage to him. His face will open up into this blue crystal, which he'll shoot out magic, and doing damage to him enough will cause him to fall to his knees and open that weak point up. Or if you manage to hit it while he's shooting, it does that too. Um, I died once, and then I learned if I just hold back and just shoot my green magic. And throughout this, we also got a new
The red disruption
yeah,
laser
I like a new
thing.
gadget, and it's like a red magic, and it shoots a laser that stuns him too. So I just sat back and shot green magic and red
Yep.
ultimately, and then killed him that way. Once I figured it out, it was easy. But I actually kind of liked the having to use the environment also. Like I was standing behind pillars to dodge his attacks and everything, and kind of weaving through them in this tiny room that you're
Mm.
fighting him on. But I
And
know you said this was pretty easy for
well,
you.
I think that's kind of like highlighting something though, is like as somebody who is like maining green magic, I feel
Yeah.
like I'm just brute forcing my way through like
Mm,
90% of this game up until chapter 9 when we get to the magic eaters. Like the whole
God, yeah.
time with this dude, like he would kind of shoot at me. I would put my shield up, green Gatling gun, hit
Yep.
the crystal while he was shooting me. He'd fall to the floor, and then I'd do the domino, whatever it is, the
Like
ultimate
you
attack.
use your ult, yeah.
Yeah, and then that would but the thing is when you did that and he kind of, like, took all the damage, he kind of, like almost does this, like, explosion thing and gets back up, that would drop Domino Magic, so I would get my ult again,
Yeah,
and I would just kind of rinse and repeat. Um, I and that's kind of, like, another issue I'm having, at least up until, like I said, chapter 9, like, you can just brute force this
yeah,
game with green magic, like and I'm
and
sure maybe even red, like, if you upgrade the red high enough to do, like, enough damage per shot, you
yeah,
can kind of just even if they're
for
blue,
sure.
you're just like, "Yeah, fuck off,
I mean,
go
I
away."
had at this point, I think I was had, like, level 20 weapons at this point
Mhm.
too, especially with red because I was just
I've got some
upgrading red.
crazy gear, like, I don't know about you, like,
I took a screenshot too because I wanted to compare, I don't have it on me now that I
I think
oh,
all of my oh, shit, your camera's dropped again, dude.
no! No! I have to be careful.
I think
No.
the camera struggles are real. I think all 3 of my main weapons
Are they
are
purple?
20.
Okay.
I don't think they're all purple, but they're all level 20. Um,
God, I fucking hate this. I
all of
hate
my
it here.
rings are purple level 20, and then my braces are like purple level 24.
I found a lot of we're getting very dynamic angles from me today for my camera. I don't know what you're gonna do with post with this. Um, I yeah, I found a lot of purple like rings and a lot of purple
Mhm.
magic leading up to these sections. So I'm pretty like hit it out. I think you have a level like my immortal level is 30. Last time I had looked,
Oh,
it
I
shows me like a
haven't
top
even
left corner.
looked.
There's like a stat screen. Did you know about this? And
Oh,
if you open the pause menu at the top where it shows like how much of the like red shards you have. It's like blue shards, green shards. If you go down
Mhm.
that, it shows your attack, it shows your shield, and it shows your like it has like stats on the side there too, which I
I
did not know
know.
about.
I did think of something. I was like, that must be somewhere because the bracer I've equipped gives me like plus 130% shield or something,
Yes, so
like or
that'll be like
100%
your
armor.
shield.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Um. So yeah, I the boss was kind of. I think as well. I was kind of like riding this high from the exalted construct from the previous boss with all the different gems that to go from something that was like so cool because the one thing I want is for this game to make me utilize the fact that Jack has all three magic types.
right.
And oh sorry. And the fact that that boss did and then this boss I just kind of brute forced my way through it. I was like, "Ah, that doesn't." I felt like we'd turned a corner.
Yeah,
But I think on reflection we didn't turn a corner. I just think the
that was
exalted
just kind of the
construct
best one
was
that
just
we've
a
done.
really good boss.
Yeah, it really was. I put a
Yeah,
screenshot
that's
in.
the
This
crystal
is
bracer. That's what I have. Oh
yeah.
yeah, shit.
If you like armor, shield, health,
Look, yeah,
magic
health,
power, red magic power shows like
fury.
your level. My Magnus. This is an older screenshot. I don't my stuff more upgraded than this, but it shows your Magnus rank at the top left, and to see how mine says 30. Bro, I fucking can't with
Oh,
my
you're
camera today,
beautiful.
homie. I
Thank you.
cannot.
Sorry, Ellie just bought me another drink. I'm fucking melting. Shit, me and you have the same piranha plant. Have we talked about this before?
I was like, how did you see my piranha plant? But I remember the screenshot. I was like, my camera's not even facing that this time.
You're kind of there.
Yeah. Uh yeah, I think I remember you saying that. Okay. This is
Yeah, I have
good.
the same piranha plant.
We're here with my camera.
Yeah, I have the GBA as well. I know the Game Boy, and it's good.
Yeah.
Just don't touch anything.
I'm just not gonna touch anything. I'm not gonna hit my desk or anything. I think we're fine. I think we're
Okay.
okay. Yeah, I know. I was just saying that if you main green magic, then that was my default. I've been using red and blue and hardly using green. So I died, and
Mhm.
I was like, oh, if I just use green, I win. And that seems to be the kind of theme.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is like using green is kind of like just like spraying and playing, like spraying and praying, just
Yeah,
playing like all of a COD campaign with an LMG. Like that
yeah.
is.
So after this, we now get into the chapter that's called the Magic Eaters, and
Well,
this. Okay, go for it.
this sucks, but I was gonna say the reason we get there is because
Mm,
we have this weird scene where Jack and Devin are looking through the library, and Kenzie comes and lays on the desk, and it's just like, "Oh, I'll chill with you guys."
yeah, she's all just
Um,
hanging out. She's a part of the squad now, apparently.
yeah, and we find out that Thaddeus has gone to. Can you hear that?
Nuh-uh.
Oh, okay, don't worry then. Um, we find out that Thaddeus has gone to chill in a place in the Underdwell
Mhm.
called Calthus.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about it. And then Devon's like, "Oh, that place is bad. That is like where the Elori are. They are like magic eaters. They can eat
Mm,
magic, and so the
which
Lucian
is
army
crazy.
basically banished them down into the dark, into the underground of the realm." And now they
Mm,
kind of live there and have been there for tens of thousands of years, and they hate humans.
yeah.
And Jack is like, "Well, I don't have a choice but to go, so I'm gonna go."
Yeah. Uh, so I'm like of two minds about this, right? There's sections of this chapter in the Underworld that sucks and is like the worst mechanics that we've seen. But I was telling Ben this too. There's a huge thematic shift when we get down into the Underworld. It is
Mhm,
like I thought the fight with the Archon was bad in the close quarters. This is like hallways. We are running through a
mhm.
mine and it like changes up to like a horror game. There's like monsters that
Yes.
pop out and you're fighting them legit just in a hallway and it's very
Mhm,
close quarters. It is terrifying. And when we actually get to the magic eaters, we can't damage them. You can only
no.
kind of like overwhelm them with magic, which stuns them. And then that's it. And then you run away. It's literally like like you're being chased. You have to stun them, turn levers to open doors, and then run from them, which is terrifying.
Yes, this chapter sucked. I'm just gonna get that out there. Um, I was talking about like we have a group chat where we're talking about this game,
Yeah.
and I warned the boys. I was like, "Look, when you get to chapter 9, it fucking sucks. Just like brute force through it. Like
Yeah.
it's a bad chapter." And I think if I'm honest, I would like this if they took out the pressure plates, which we'll
I
get
was I
to.
was
But
just about to say this because there's times there's a section of this where you're having to fight two of them while like there's a grapple part that's like moving up this railing. You have to wait for it to get to the
Mhm,
top so you can grapple away, and having to balance between like fighting two of these and stunning them and running away and fighting them again in a very small room. I think is fine. I think it was fun
mhm,
gameplay, but when you have to then utilize their stunned unconscious bodies in order to solve puzzles, that
mhm.
sucks.
Yeah, well, I guess so let's talk about that. So, like,
Okay.
the main thing before we get to the lore is that we have to explore the Underdwell when we're trying to find this temple. We're trying to find where
Yes.
Thaddeus is, because we need to talk about Rook as well, but we'll
Oh
get to that.
God, Rook.
Um, but yeah, like Jared said, so there's these like blue creatures, and now that I saw them, they really this is such a wild comparison. They remind me, the creatures from the first live action Scooby Doo movie. The big brown creatures. They look like them but blue.
That's I thought he looked like the big sexy monster guy from Dragon Age Inquisition. They look
Oh
like
no,
him.
Rook looks like a big sexy guy from Dragon Age, yeah.
Yeah,
But the main creatures are
they
kind
do
of like
look
the
like the
dude from
Scooby Doo
Scooby Doo.
monsters. That's so
Um,
funny.
and they will literally drain your mana and your
Yeah,
health,
if you're
like as they
close to
get
them,
close
they
to
will
you.
just like absorb your energy as you're just near them.
And the first time I encounter one, Jack is like, "Oh shit, that's one of them." Like, because it's kind of like hunting you. You're like
Hmm.
running through these tunnels, and it just
You can
jumps
hear
out and
it.
gets you.
Yeah,
Um, and something that I learned very early on was like, it's almost like they absorb too much magic, and then they
yeah,
kind of do this like explosion thing, and then they're stunned on the floor.
mhm. Yeah. You
And
can
when
like
there's
overwhelm them with magic.
yes, yeah. Which was fine. I was like, "Oh, that's
Yeah,
creepy." Like, I really like the idea of being in an environment where, like, the only weapon is magic, but the creature is like anti-magic. I think that's a
yeah.
really kind of cool, just
Not
as a one-off chapter.
Yeah.
Like,
Not only that, but you're in a room with an enemy you can't kill. Like, you
yes,
cannot kill these things either, so that creates an interesting dynamic of having to, like, chase. It's like a chase pursue situation, which we haven't seen before. Like, I'm usually
yeah,
being aggro going after enemies, and
hmm
now we have an enemy that is the opposite. It's changed that relationship with the combat, which is really cool.
which is really cool until the pressure plates. So
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
start to come across these like puzzles where, um, the way to access the next area is to open a door. Sometimes
Mhm.
it's like a plank of wood that's across the door. Sometimes it's the
Yeah.
actual door has to open. But the only way to open them is on a pressure plate. And
Yeah.
so what you have to do is you have to lure one of these creatures onto the pressure plate and basically stun it. And so what I found myself doing was like just kind of tanking the damage, basically having him
Yeah.
stand right next to me and just bombarding him with green magic until they stunned, and then they kind of like kneel on the floor, which is on the pressure plate. And then you have this really like tense moment where the door is really slowly opening, or like the bit of wood's really slowly pulling across. There's even one where you have to stun one guy downstairs, jump upstairs,
One
stand on
upstairs.
the other pressure plate to bring the
Yeah.
other fucking bar across, which then lets the door very slowly
Yeah.
open so that you can progress through.
My problem with this too, that was my way of going about the combat of these as well, right? I would just tank the damage, just try to overwhelm them. I had my shield up most of the time and do that. But they do this little like lunge towards you, and they kept lunging over the pressure plate, and I would do damage, and they were
Oh
right
yeah.
next to it where they were too close to be on the pressure plate. So I had to wait for them to come up. It takes like 3 to 5 seconds for them to get out of their stun, and then rinse and repeat over and over again,
Hmm.
which again, I'm taking damage now. I'm taking hits. I'm taking actual damage as I'm doing this too. So there's a couple times where I died just trying to get them aligned on the goddamn plate. It's not like I can move them around. You have to conveniently have them jump on the plate and then stun them while they're on their plate. They'll still lunge. They'll lunge over you. They'll lunge behind
Yep.
you and everything too. So it's very specific on how you have to have them lined up, which is not. There's a lot of things that I think are like fine. There's some of the story stuff that I think is bad. This is just a bad mechanic. I think this
Yeah.
just sucks. There's no the magic
Yeah.
eaters I think are fine. Incorporating them with the puzzles, I don't think is done very well.
No. I think the one time it's done very well is, um so we eventually do find this temple,
Mm,
and we have to interact with this statue, we have to animate it, and we make our way through the temple, and this is now essentially like the temple of the Pentasard.
Hmm.
Because the thing that we learn is that these creatures, although they are anti-magic, they do worship the Pentasard as well,
Yeah,
which is very confusing.
very interesting.
We explore a bit more of the Underdwell. We do a lot of traversal with the Blue Whip, and then we fucking meet Rook.
Yeah, we right before this, we're like running through the section, and there's just like hundreds of these magic eaters that are like
Yeah,
chasing us as we're running through. And right before we get attacked by one, we get pulled to the side by another one who's kind of draped in this cloth, and he can speak. And this is Rook, everybody. Rook is, I guess, the leader of the magic eaters. None of the magic eaters can talk. Rook can talk. They don't really explain it. They kind of just like, yep, I can talk and move on. But there's been lots of moments where there's kind of cringy dialogue or dialogue that just doesn't fit the story. The interactions between Jack and Rook are the worst. Rook is just
it's
like, he's like,
fucking
give me a
awful.
cigarette. And Jack pulls a cigarette out of
Oh,
his pocket and he smokes a cigarette real quick. I'm just like, what is
well,
happening?
it's also really jarring because, like, something I've noticed, the cutscenes do well when they go from cutscene back into gameplay because it kind
Yeah.
of goes over Jack's shoulder into a first
Mhm.
person view, and you, but it does the opposite going into a cutscene, and it doesn't
It,
always land.
yeah, kind of pulls out
Um,
and Jack like walks, like he's walking off
yes,
of camera and into, he's walking
off
into
camera,
frame.
yeah. But this whole kind of scene is just weird because Rook pulls you aside, and basically the guys, like these other creatures, come up and he like snarls at them, and he's basically like, "Oh, you're a magic user. That's why my boys are all riled up." And then he growls at them again, and they go away. And he sits down, and Jack's like, "Oh, so like, what are you, the leader or something?" And like you said, he's just like, "Oh yeah, give me a cigarette." And Jack's just like, "Okay." Never on camera has he smoked up until this point, and he just
No, why
pulls a
does Jack
cigarette.
have a cigarette in his pocket? Why?
He just pulls a cigarette out, and is basically like, and Rook, I'm not gonna go through the fucking dialogue because I'll be honest with you, I don't remember the exact dialogue. All I remember is it's fucking cringy, it's really out of place, and
I guess
the
the
one
only
thing with oh,
oh,
I was just the one thing with Rook is that like he doesn't make sense thematically,
that's
right?
what I'm trying to
Because
figure out. Like, what is his purpose? I mean, I guess he's just part of the underdwell and everything. He says that, "Oh, Jack, you owe me two favors after
mhm.
this. 'Cause I saved
We
you."
owe him two favors because he saved us and he takes us to Thaddeus. That's the other
Yeah,
thing that he does. Um, and then he just kind of dips.
yeah,
And then that's it. That's the
yeah.
end of Rook. Now maybe Rook will come up later in the game. I don't know, but it just feels really weird because like I was expecting a fight of some sort, right? I
Yeah.
was expecting like this is going to be the boss. This is like, somehow we have to defeat this guy, but then he just kind of helps us
Well, and it
and
doesn't
and
like.
then
There's no
dips out.
reason why he doesn't. He's like helps
No,
us just because. I
well,
mean, I
because
guess he had like helped
the
Thaddeus before because Thaddeus is also lives down here, but just like
no, but
why?
the whole time that he he's talking to us, he says something along the lines of he's like, "Oh, like how long until we forgive you?" And Jack's like, "What?" And he's like, "Never. That's what you should be saying. Like, we're never gonna forgive you for trapping us down here." And Jack's just like, "Dude, like I didn't
Like,
fucking
he's
do
like, "I
this.
don't
Like,
know what you're
I'm."
talking about, man. I'm just trying to find Thaddeus. I don't know who you are. I don't know how you have a
And then he Brooks
relationship
like,
with
"Oh
these."
yeah, Thaddeus. Like he's through this door. Let me take you."
There's another
Um.
part too where the whole time I'm assuming it's like the energy that the Alori give off because Jack's little like his little iPad that he has doesn't work. His
Oh, the
FaceTime is off.
face fin
Yeah, when Rook is
again.
nearby.
Scooby Doo. They do that in Scooby Doo.
They do that in Scooby Doo, you're right, it's just the Scooby Doo game, but the whole time, like, uh, Devin is talking about it, like, "Oh, did you find those awful, ugly, stupid Alori creatures?" And he's just, like, doing the, like, "Shh, shh, shh, no, 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 he's right
Yeah,
behind me, don't say that."
and that was it was so weird because like I know we make comparisons about early 2000s, like, but that feels like such a Ratchet Clank fucking
You
like
know what?
moment to
You're
be
so
like
right,
to be
that
like
does.
on the phone with like these types of creatures, and then someone's on the phone like, "Oh yeah, those stupid fucking creatures," and
I don't
then
remember where it's at, but there's actually, like, "He's right behind me, isn't he?" section that happens somewhere in here. I don't remember if it's with
yeah,
Devin and
Devin says
Kenzie
something
or something
about
like
that.
that, like,
I
"Oh,
think
she's right
he's
behind me, isn't she?"
Yeah, I think it is Devon and Kenzie.
Yeah.
But yeah, the moment you're talking about, like, fucking Rook walks over to the like speaking stone or whatever it's called, and like begins to like pull Devon's face through the speaking stone, and Devon's like, "Why is my
Don't
face being pulled through?"
don't explain how that happens or how Rook has this powers. Also, Rook's just again, he's just like, Have tell Thaddeus I said hi, and then dips out.
It
It's
just
like,
dips out. It's
I
so
okay.
surreal and jarring,
Yeah.
and, I know at least 2 people are playing this game. I mean, by the time we record this, they probably won't have heard this, like, by the time we record their episodes,
Yeah.
but if you're playing along or if you've played this game, please tell us what you think, because I refuse to think we're the only 2 people who think that this is jarring.
No, it's bad. I mean, again, maybe Rook shows up later, but again, there's Rook has no motivation to helping Jack at all. Like
No, if anything, the
again,
opposite.
maybe like we get some of that revelation. It's kind of like, oh, we keeping that secret until later. But again, the dialogue between Rook and Jack is just awful. It's just terrible. It's just a bad time. Uh,
I'm looking through the rest of this walkthrough, and there's no other mention of Rook. He may
cool.
come up as a side character, but he's not in any of the mission, like, objective things that you have to do.
Cool. Which is even more disappointing because I think Rook, aside from his awful dialogue, is kind of a cool character. The idea of just like the leader of these like non-verbal race of
Who,
like
like,
magic
should hate
absorbers.
them,
Yeah,
like.
that should hate them. Like again creates this level of like uh collateral damage from the war kind of
Mhm.
situation. But again, it just kind of falls flat. Once again, same thing with on Oman or Orman and everything too. But
Yeah.
yeah, Rook essentially is like, here's the path to Thaddeus. He's through here, and now we're in like a lava level. It is like you're underground, and
Cal
it is the caldera.
Caldera. And I remember this because fucking Rook makes a comment. He takes us through this door and he's like, "Oh, look, it's over there. You just keep heading that way and it's over there." And Jack's like, "What's with all the lava?" And Rook is like,
Oh, I
"I don't
remember
know,
this. Yeah.
wizards like lava." And then just dips out. You're like, "What the fuck is going on in this game?"
Oh man, it's
But
awful. Wizards like
you
lava.
This was interesting because I liked this puzzle. This again felt very
Yeah.
Zelda-y.
Mhm.
You kind of make your way from lower Caldera up to upper Caldera, and then you're presented with this puzzle where there are essentially lasers that you have to reflect off of mirrors to go into certain points, which then once you do both of them, it opens up this path in the
Like
lava that
Moses, and
allows
you
you.
split the
Yeah.
sea of lava, or you can walk through it. I took a screenshot, and I was like, "This is insane." He's like splitting
um,
the Red Sea. It's crazy.
But this felt very Zelda-y because, like,
Yeah.
there are moments where you kinda do this before and, like, fins will lift up and you can go
Mhm.
underneath them to go to the next area. I was like, "This is cool."
Yeah, it is cool, and it's this game does a good job again of the all the elements of these laser contraptions we've seen throughout all of the levels in
Mhm.
this game. We have not been able to interact with them. We have no idea how to use them. So I imagined maybe not. We didn't get it here, just to spoil the ending of it. But we eventually get a way of interacting with those. But it does a good job of kind of like showing us these puzzles and interactables that we just essentially don't have the tools for yet with the whip, and even the red little stopwatch laser that we have breaks these little red crystals, which I've tried to figure out how to do around too. So it's like we get introduced to these elements, and then
Is
later
that what
on,
that does?
yes. So the little red crystals that are on
Mhm.
not the red circle ones that are spiky, but the tall, skinny ones. You can
Oh,
shoot your
okay.
red laser with those, and it'll break, and it'll give
'Cause
you magic and everything.
there's a puzzle that I can't solve right by the barracks.
Yes.
Like, when you go back and it's got the
It's not
eyes
that.
and
It's not that.
it's not that.
It's
Okay.
not that. So I'm assuming we eventually figure out how to do that, but the puzzle to solve this we've seen throughout. And again, it's like these lasers that have to shoot into different eyes that bounce off of mirrors. Again, Ben said it's very Zelda. It does feel very Zelda. We split the red lava sea, which is crazy,
Mhm.
and we meet Thaddeus. Who Thaddeus is
Who
just. I thought he was going to be more old man wizardy. He doesn't feel
Mhm.
like he's very
He
much that.
reminded
He's only.
me. I know we're doing a lot of comparisons. He reminded me of Doctor Strange. Like, the
Yeah,
way,
yeah,
like, Doctor Strange kinda comes down the stairs, Thaddeus is just, like, there chilling 'cause, Jack goes to open a door, and there's some sort of, like, explosion spell on the door that blows the door off, and
yeah,
Thaddeus ain't even pissed. Thaddeus is just like, "Oh, you're gonna pay for my door?" And Jack's like, "I didn't mean to blow it up, to be fair."
yeah,
Um, and then there's a very interesting moment where we basically learn, like, Thaddeus is like, "Oh, does Kirkan still hate me? Blah blah
yeah.
blah blah blah." And he knows about the Binding Stone. He
Yes.
knows about the fonts. He knows about everything. That's why we've come to him. And he does this thing that I think they call a mind walk.
We get to go inside of his mind palace, which is which
Yes,
is
we
interesting.
enter Thaddeus's mind palace,
Which okay,
and Gone.
Why did we have to do that? Because essentially he explains the history of the Binding Stones and Orman, who kind of was like the start of this and how that like blew up because they used too much magic and everything. Um, it was said that Orman and that civilization was like the highest technology that had existed for
Hmm.
thousands of years. We learned that actually hadn't been around for very long. That they actually weren't around for very long. And it was again, it's this like this narrative that is being created to uplift this society and talk about them and the idea maybe it's like to downplay the dangers of magic because they didn't even have
Hmm.
magic for that long fully like unkept and they destroyed themselves, so maybe it's again to get rid of that idea that magic is bad. But don't know why we had to jump inside Thaddeus's mind palace to just
Yep.
have this conversation. He could have just
Yeah.
told us
Big could have been an email vibes. Like it's
this.
for some
Absolutely.
reason, like you said, like there's holograms and he kind of
Yeah.
shows us what Oroman looks like beforehand and stuff. Um, and then basically he is like gonna say to us like what we need to do, and then he just gets shot.
Well, he's like, someone else is in here with us. And
Yes.
the hand of Sandrakk is like right behind us, like
Oh,
eavesdropping
that's
on
it.
this
Yeah, we
conversation.
come out of the mind walk. Yes, he's like, oh, someone else is here, and then we turn around and Hand of Sandrakk is there. Um,
Yeah.
and Hand of Sandrakk shoots Thaddeus,
Yeah.
and Thaddeus goes blasting into the cupboard, and then the Hand of Sandrakk's got like all these people with them, and they run off. And oh, that's it, because the reason we didn't have to go into the mind walk to do this, but the thing he tells us is that there's a Shine Forge, and that we
Yes.
should go to the Shine Forge, which is somewhere in the ruins of Oromon. He doesn't know where,
Yeah.
but the Shine Forge will tell us what we need to know about the Binding Stone and basically how we can kind of counteract it and stop Sandrakk from absorbing all of these fonts, because he now has three of them, I think, and there's only
Yes.
four.
He has
Um,
3, and there's I think there's more than 4. There's like 6 or something like that. He has
oh,
most of
okay,
them or half of
he
them or
has most of
something,
them.
and this is he's able to absorb them, which is just giving him more magic ability. So the hand of Sandrakk is pretty much eavesdropping on that, knows that information, knows that's where we're heading next, and essentially is running away to go tell Sandrakk that or just to leave.
Yeah.
So we do this whole kind of like retracing our steps back through the level to get to Sandrakk or to get the hand of Sandrakk and catch up with her. We we catch up with her and we kind of were like shooting blasts back and forth at her and we shoot her mask off. And
Mm,
y'all, we predicted it because
yeah.
guess who the hand of Shadrach
Even
is? He says like,
he
"Don't
says
be
it.
her."
Yeah, he's like, "Don't be you," and I'm like, "This dude knew the whole fucking time." Are you where like what? Like at no point in this fucking game has he verbalized the fact that he's worried it might be Luna.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, like you shoot the mask off and it's really dramatic. It falls to the floor and the
like,
camera pans
"Don't
to him
be
and he's like,
you."
"Don't be you," and it turns around and it's Luna.
There's
And
very few times that like again, there's a lot of cringy dialogue. I like paused and put my controller down because I was like,
the
there's
"Don't be you" is
no
fucking
shot he
awful.
screams, "Don't be you" in this dramatic moment that, like you said, there's not a single time where he's like, man, that could have been I mean, he goes through this like granted, he actually gives a pretty good emotional delivery later on where he was like,
Hmm.
I thought you were fucking dead. And now you're on the enemy side. Like he actually does a really good job, but not once has he ever like he thought Luna was dead. He thought she was
Yeah.
dead. There's no part of him that thought she was alive. So for him to say, like, don't be you right before the reveal that it is her, which again, we fucking called it because of course we did, because it's so fucking predictable. But it was just so out of place for him to say
Even
that.
even to have like Zendara or Kirkan or somebody suggest that it's Luna and him be like, no, no,
Yeah,
no, like she's dead,
she's
it
dead.
can't be
Yeah.
her. Like it is something that's just like added in there for
Again,
like emotional sort of pulling on the heartstrings.
didn't land.
Didn't land because
No.
at no point has he fucking said he
Yeah.
thinks it might be
Which
her.
again, her being the hand of Sandrak, fine. Again, we already predicted that. I kind
Hmm.
of assumed that was gonna be the head. Him being surprised, fine. He could have shot off the mask and be like, oh God, no, like something like that, but just say, like, don't be you. It's just like it seems so stupid. It seems
And also,
so
and
dumb.
then he's like he's like, "Oh, like, in that moment after he's like, 'Don't be,' and it reveals it's her, he's like, 'I thought you was dead,' and she's like, 'Don't ask that question.' And he's like, 'How could you do this?' And she's like, 'That's the
That's
question
the
I didn't want
question,
you
and then
asking.'"
flies away. And I'm like,
Yeah, and this
oh
bitch can fly. I'm like,
yeah,
"Where
she
d
can
what?
fly.
Like, what the hell? She can fly."
Yeah.
So
I
she
mean,
flies away, and we're kind of left, I guess, in what's supposed to be this emotional moment that
Yeah.
really doesn't it didn't land for me, at least.
It doesn't land here. Again, we go through this, we have another war meeting where Jack is clearly distracted by this information. He's seeing like
Well, he can
holograms
see
of
her.
yeah, he's seeing the holograms of her walking around the war room, and we end up going back to our room after this whole mission. And because I guess there's explanation because of the mind walk, they can now see one another. Where Jack can
Mhm.
see her, can't see where she is, but can see her. But Luna can't see him; she can just hear him. And she said, like, I can
Yeah.
see kind of like vague images of where you are, but she can't like eavesdrop on their kind of conversation. And again, I think it's still done well. Jack delivers a very emotional
Mhm.
like line of him saying like being rightfully upset that
Well,
his best friend he thought was dead for so long is now part of the enemy team.
yeah. It's also interesting because, like, I'm playing this in the front room, Ellie's working from home,
Mm.
and, I was like, "Are you cool if I play it?" She's like, "Yeah, it's fine." And, like, this moment happens where, like, Jack is really emotional, like you said, he's like, "I thought you were dead. How could you do this?"
She
And she
doesn't
was
give a
like,
shit. Have you seen the
"Yeah,
color of
well,
Salmon in the in Rasharn or whatever?
yeah, she's like, "Have you ever seen The Color in Rashan?" And he's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" But, like, Ellie was like, "Are they lovers?" And I was
Mm,
like, "No, they're, like, best
they're
friends." And
best
she was
friends,
like,
yeah.
"Okay, like, he's really, really invested." I was like, "Yeah, well, like, he was, like, a street
Him,
urchin. She
him
raised him, and, like,
yeah, him being invested I was fine with, but just like not
she's so
it's that
nonchalant, dog,
it's so
like."
nonchalant. Like the whole thing is like you don't have the whole picture. Like I get that. I get it's like you don't understand the whole thing. I've been opened up. I've seen the truth. Like that's why I'm over here.
Mhm.
But for her to just trying to convince him to like, have you been to Rasharn? It's so pretty. It's beautiful here. It's like that's not a good enough excuse of
Yeah.
why you've been gone for all this time and you've never said anything to me.
And that's the thing is, like, she doesn't
You don't get
ever
that clarification in
actually
this
get.
section.
No,
We don't get it
no,
yet.
she's just kinda like, they've got colors that don't exist in Lucia. And he's like, "What?"
That's
Um,
not. You
and
need
she tries
I need some more, man. I need some more of what's happening here.
she tries to, like, make a comparison. She's like, "Oh, like, this reminds me of that time that, like, those children stole your something." And he's like, "Don't fucking bring up, like, memories of, like, when I was a kid." And she's
Yeah.
just trying to, like, tug on the heartstring, and she eventually she's like, "We should meet."
Yeah.
Um, and then that stops, and
Yeah.
the chapter doesn't end just yet. We go to the war chamber
Mm.
again, and
This
how
is where
does it
Kenzie
end?
shows up, and,
This is where Kenzie shows up. Yes,
yeah,
because we're trying to locate the Shrine Forge in
yeah.
Oromon. And Devin, before we go to the chambers, Devin's like, "Oh, I know somebody," and it's Kenzie. And Kenzie walks in, and first of all, she is
I was like, I
thirsty
forgot
for
that she's
Zendara.
yeah, I was like, first she thought she's like, "Oh, wow, who is that?" And I'm
Yeah.
just like, "Oh god."
And Devin's like, "Don't speak to her like you speak to other people. Like she's actual royalty."
Yeah.
Um, and basically, there's this weird. It's supposed to be again. Is I feel like it's supposed to land, but it didn't really land. Like
Mm.
they're looking at this like almost like a magical
Oh, where they
hologram
flipped the
of the
hologram
land.
upside down?
Yeah, and, like, they're looking and she's like, "Oh, like, we're looking in the desert layer," and Kenzie's like, "No, like, they like to build shit underground," and Kirkan goes, "Oh," and, like, rotates it 180 degrees, and
It's
it
a
becomes a
big, like,
cave.
dramatic scene of them being like, "We've solved it. We've
It's
done
like a
it."
big cave, and I was just like, "What the fuck? How did you not see?"
Yeah,
Like, 'cause
it's just
surely that
it's a
structure was
hologram. You can see
underground.
through some of this shit. Like, you couldn't just
Yeah,
see that there's a structure under there?
but also, yeah, that's what I mean, like, she's looking at it, like, how did you not see there was a structure underground? Like, I don't know, I don't get it. But that
Yeah,
is where
me
it
neither.
ends, essentially, is now
Yeah,
we think that we have the location of the Shrine Forge, and we are gonna go and see if we can s find some sort of way to either
yeah.
stop the Binding Stone or stop Sandrakk
Or
or
find a way of getting
something.
our own and start absorbing
Yeah, maybe even better.
some of the thing I forget what's the name of the things again? Please help me.
Fonts.
Fonts. It's an F word and I forget it every single time. But yeah, that is the emotional whiplash that is this section of Immortals of Avium. Ben, I'm gonna pass it over to you. How are you feeling at this point? We've got a lot of new gameplay stuff. We've got a lot of new
Mhm.
story revelations that we have. We have now a new mission that we're going to kind of do this big thing, which is try to find the home of the Binding Stones to stop Sandrakk. How you feeling? Oh
I don't
no.
know. Um I feel like kind of like I said at the end of the other episode, to be honest, the game's fine.
Sure.
Um, the plot really picked up. The plot really picked up with the Sandrakk revelation. I mean, even if we forget the fact that Loon's still alive,
Mm.
um, Sandrakk being an immortal and him and Kirkin seem to have this relationship and they have like a history. And he's obviously been around for a long time because he says something, Jack says something to him before the Exalted Construct fight. And Sandrakk's like, "Oh, is that still happening? Like that was so many years ago." Like he kind of like has this like memory of what's happened. It's really interesting to me how like Jack was so against using magic because of the wound, but all we've done
Is
this
use magic
entire
from
thing
time
is
to
use
time.
magic.
Yeah.
um, the I said that the chapter 9 sucked. I think it sucked because we kind of talk about the lost potential and stuff. Like it was
Mm.
really, it was actually quite scary and quite terrifying to be in an
Yeah.
environment with an enemy that you couldn't kill, and there were multiple of them. Just remove the pressure plates. Like if we even the section like you said, there's a section where you pull a lever and basically this fin is lifting up and we're waiting for it to get to the top so that we can whip onto it and jump over this ledge. Um, Even that was cool because you were
Yeah.
kind of balancing the two like, there were 2 of them, and you were trying to stun one, then stun the other, also trying to, like, not lose too much health, and at that point, I had, like, next to no health crystals. The temples were really cool, these kinda, like, Zelda-esque puzzles of lasers and clearing metal and stuff like that. I I think if I'm honest,
Mm.
I think I feel okay about it.
Mm.
Um I feel like it is very much a condensed game. I feel like the impression I get is that the plan was for this to be longer or maybe like multi-game franchise or something. I feel like it is very rushed in terms of its world building and its lore, and it kind of has a lot of things that have already existed and expects you to kind of just accept them with no real explanation and no real
Mm.
like, oh hey, here's this like whole race of people and they just blew up, and that I can kind of get on board with. But I feel like there are other things like the wound that kind of get dropped and then just left. And you're like,
Mm.
well, hang on, wait, like I thought we was
It gets
against magic because
it
of
gets
the
it gets
wound.
brought up when it's convenient for the lore.
Yeah. Um the fucking scene with the hand and the "Don't be you" and all of that stuff was fucking
Oh,
awful.
so bad.
Um, I think I can't work out where the game's gonna go. I
Mm.
can see it being either either Jack finds a way to absorb all of the fonts and kind of
Mm.
decides that he is gonna stop access to all magic. Like the Pentasard seems to have taken an interest in him. So it's almost kind of this like chosen one vibe that's going on. He's a what do they call him? A triarch, a
Triarch,
tri
yeah.
something. Um, which seems to be very rare as well. So it kind of has this chosen one vibe where I think maybe Jack is going to get all the magic and then he
Yeah.
decides, hey, we're not going to do this anymore. We're going to repair the wound and nobody's going to have magic. Or I can see him defecting to the Rashanians, and
That'd be cool.
I can see him then kind of, because part of me does wonder if that's what Sandrakk is trying to do.
Mm.
Like, because the Lucians are painting it as Sandrakk's trying to absorb all the fonts, so he has all the magic and he can take over the world. And even
Yeah.
Thaddeus says that. But part of me wonders if he's absorbing all of the fonts to stop people having access to magic, to stop the wound from spreading and save the world, but he's kind of
Yeah.
being painted as the bad guy.
Yeah.
Um, I think that would be more interesting personally, the kind of chosen one thing.
Yeah.
I feel like that's been done. Like I feel like it'd be more interesting to have, Jack not only didn't want to be involved in this, but now he's involved in it and he's involved in the side that I guess is quote unquote evil, if we believe that. Like, the Lucians are trying to kind of keep this going, even though they know it's destroying the world. So the idea that like Jack might defect and
Mm.
and join like an old friend and join the quote unquote enemy to save the world, I think is a bit more appealing. Um, Overall, it's fine. The open areas are okay. They're not too open, which I like. Um, gameplay wise, I'm having a blast. You know, going around and shooting shit and changing magic types and stuff is great. Um, I just think the story isn't quite landing as much as it was probably wanted to.
Yeah. So sorry, I was listening to something. My it's weird. I got my car's being in the shop right now. I'm just doing normal service, and they sent me a video talking about like, oh, here's some of the stuff that we're gonna change, and I was like, the fuck, I've never seen them send me a video before.
That's
Sorry.
wild. What?
Yeah, it was crazy. I was distracted. But yeah, man, I talked about like Whiplash, and
Mhm.
damn, this game has a lot of it too. Because I think
Yes.
there's a lot of the gameplay I'm like having a great time with. Like I'm loving the gameplay. I said beforehand, but I was telling Ben this is like a video game. Like it has very video
Mm,
gamey, and I think that's fine. I'm liking it. Uh, some of the mechanics of the magic eaters and everything is not great, but it's fine. I don't think it was terrible. God, the story is just like I it doesn't, and this may be the cause of how he breaks stuff off, but I feel like it does not give you a second to breathe. You don't have time to kind of like process any of the information before you get fucking whiplash, and you get sent into more information. You don't get like a chance to. We had this whole revelation with Luna, and we're just gonna move on to the next thing, and we don't even get a chance to like actually. I would say that's probably the better example, just because we do get a whole sense of like seeing her in the war room and then having a conversation with her and having, Jack verbally being conflicted of what to do. So that one lands a little better, but man, it is all over the place. And I cannot the conversations with Rook, the stuff that's happening with Devin and Kenzie, and the reveal with Jack and Luna is just it's just bad. Like some of this is like cringy, but it's just like that. It tries to land this very emotional, like gut punch,
mm,
and they had me. It was there. I knew it was coming. Again, I knew that it
mhm.
was coming in the first place. They had me, and then they missed. They just
Yeah.
completely missed. And again, the reveal of just like of turning the hologram slightly upside down and having all their minds be blown is just like fucking serious. You couldn't see the hole in this structure from the other way. You couldn't just have walked around it and seen that. I don't know, man.
No, no.
It's interesting. I'm still in the theory that Sandrakk is Jack's dad. He's gonna be like
Mm.
Uncle Sandrakk, or he's gonna be something. They're gonna be like, actually, Jack, you were born in Rasharn, and then we sent you off to Lucian to have a better life, or
Oh
something like
shit.
that, yeah, or something along those regards. Maybe that's why Luna is staying there, because she learned of like Jack's true family, and her true family is actually part of Rasharn and everything, and that's why she's working for
Mm.
Sandrakk. Um, I do think it's at least being set up that Sandrakk
I
wants
just
magic
realized.
to what?
Sorry, I just realized. Do you not think Luna and Kirkan really look alike?
No, I'm glad you brought that up because I forgot to bring that up. But I wonder if Luna is Kirkin's daughter. They
She
look
looks like
exactly
her
the same.
daughter. Yeah.
Yes, they look exactly the same. So that may be a thing too, of where Sandrakk was like, "Here's all this stuff about Luna or about Kirkin. For one, she's your mom. She never wanted to do anything, have part of your life, and two, she's actually not as good as she's saying. Like all this information
Mm.
that they're giving her." Very curious to see how that happens. I don't know where we're going to go from this, but I'm curious of how that is going to be explored, and if there is going to be any revelation, or if it's just going to be like they've already set it up where it's not just like Sandrakk bad because bad. There's more gray
Mhm.
into it, and I think that's good. There's a lot of bad guys that
Yeah.
are just like bad to be bad. It's like the Thanos effect where you're just like evil because Thanos is a little better because he was trying to save people. He just did it in an awful way.
Mm.
But it's kind of like that. It's like when you can like when the villain is spouting and you're like, that kind of makes a lot of sense. I like when
Yeah.
that happens. That is a very
Yeah,
much
yeah.
more redeemable
The
villain.
morally gray bad guy.
Yeah. And when Sandrakk was revealed to be a previous immortal, and he was a very calm and kind of conducive character, I was like, oh shit, I like him way more better. I like him much better now than I did
Mm.
before, when he was just kind of like a masked evil guy before. Like
Yeah.
him being more human is much more interesting character development for his character. So we will see. We will see what
I do
happens.
I do wanna say, I don't think the fact that I knew that Luna was the hand of Sandrakk took away from that moment. I want to make that clear. Like
No,
the fact
not
I
at
knew
all.
that's
It
what was
was
coming
Jack
wasn't the
ruined that for
problem. Yes,
himself.
yeah, 100%.
Because I
The
knew when we were
delivery
chasing
was
her, I was like, "Here it comes, baby! They're gonna show
yeah,
that Luna is the hand of Sandrakk, and we're gonna get this big
yeah.
reveal." And Jack fucked it up.
You almost kind of wanted the quarters moment in that
Mm,
time. Like she knocks the
yeah.
mask off and he's like going crazy. He's like, "What the fuck? Like I thought you were
Yes.
dead." And she's just calmly walking around the cave, like, "Oh, do you know they have
Yes,
these
we
different
we
colors?"
should have
And
we
like,
should have got Jack freaking out at that point, not later on.
yes,
We should have had him freaking out then, and then she dips out, and then he continues to have a conversation. But just his lines just did not land, and it kind of took
"Don't be
the
you."
whole "Don't be you." It took the wind out of all of the reveal, and I was like, "No, no,
You
you
had
were
one
so
job.
good. You had one job not to fuck this up, and you did." I was and the chase is, like, not as short, it's long, and you're going through, you're
Yeah.
riding the ley line, you're fighting waves of enemies, like, they build it up, and then
Mhm.
just nothing, man. It's
How do
just
you feel sorry, I know we're
no.
wrapping up, but I've just remembered that one of the things I did wanna kind of I guess not critique, but like it does kind of grind me a bit is like you can come across ley lines and portals that aren't yet activated.
Mm,
Like for instance, in the last chapter, Caldera or whatever it's called, there's a
yeah,
portal that you can see should be a portal, but it isn't open yet
it's
because
locked.
it's locked because you haven't finished that section. But then there are also times where like I could see a ley line and I'd go up to it, but the ley line would be locked and I couldn't ride the ley line.
Mhm,
And it's kind of almost like there isn't like now I can ride ley lines. They don't have a way to block off that part of the world. Like I'm
mm.
not ready for that world yet. So they just kind of like put a lock symbol on it and they're like, no, you can't ride that one.
Yeah, I don't remember if it ends up being this way, but in the very beginning, right before you even meet Kenzie, or maybe it's after that cutscene because it starts pretty much immediately when you get to Ormond. I turned around, there's a ley line behind you before you ride the one in
Mhm.
front, and the behind you one's locked. And I just thought, like, oh, this is gonna be one that we kind of travel to at the end to make our way back to the beginning, and maybe that's
Yeah,
why it is locked. I don't remember
it
if that's
might
how that
be.
chapter ended, but that's what I was thinking is just like, especially with the portals are like locked until you essentially open them narratively. Like now we have a portal from Caldera back to the Pantheon, and that was locked
Yes.
before, but now it's open because we have to travel back there. I'm assuming after the story points happen, they open these portals and we can travel wherever we want. There's downtime in between. Like we have these abilities that we can access things now,
Mm.
so we can jump between different worlds and
It
everything. But
just it just seems weird to kind of have these ley lines there and these portals there and stuff, but
and
like
just lock them.
just lock them. Like I don't get what would I lose from being like, actually, do you know what? I want to go back to the Pantheon,
Yeah.
or the Peloton or whatever it's fucking called.
Yeah. I think
I
it's
don't know. It's
Peloton.
it's a very
You're right.
weird. It was very weird for me. It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's by no means like deducting my experience of the game or anything like that. It was just a very strange way of like, almost like they don't have an in-game
Yeah.
way of locking it, so they just don't make it interactable.
Yeah. It's no Jack saying don't be you. Like it's not
Yeah,
that level. That's gonna be that's the new
that's a
that's the
litmus
new
test, 100%.
yeah, exactly. It's Jack fucking ruining moments for me. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens next. I'm still absolutely loving my time. Like it's a weird game and it's has a
Mhm.
silly story, but I'm noticing myself getting attached to different aspects of the narrative and curious of what happens next too. So I'm still inquisitive and still wanting to know what else is happening. But yes, that is all for this episode of Immortals of Avium. In next week's episode, we're kind of taking that mid-season break from the book club episode, and it's going to be that get wrecked that I talk about with me and Gianni. Again, we're going to be discussing Indica and Super Mario Odyssey as the two games that we are recommending and swapping recommendations. So it's going to be a good time. And then on July 28th, we are back up with the book club for part 3 of Immortals of Avium, going through chapters 11 through 15. And we're going to be joined by Will from Friday Night Gamecast, who Ben had mentioned that we are in group chat with some of the guests for this episode. We've been chatting about the game, and it's been a good time. And I'm excited to get Will on to the episode. He was one of the people where I had booted up Immortals, and with your PlayStation friends, it shows like people that have played it or that have like at least have it installed. And I was like, oh, Will has the game, and he said he hadn't actually played it. He said he played a little bit, but it kind of got lost into like playing other things for podcasts and
I can
everything
see
too.
why that
So
happened.
yep, I can see that. I can see that too. If there was other things that was taking my attention, if I didn't have to play this for the content, I probably would have been like, oh, let me, especially like Forza's out, and all other things are coming out too. I'm like, oh, let me just play those things instead, and
Yeah.
that will be great. But yeah, so yes, July 28th is when part 3 of Immortals will drop, and will be chatting us. And Kai should be back at that point too. Yeah, Kai should be back next time we
Hoping
chat.
so.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gone, I'm done. And which we can get his. It sucks that he wasn't on this episode because there's a lot of things that I think he would have a specific problem with
Oh yes,
throughout this
100%.
game. So we'll probably do a little bit of like Kai's feeling recap at the beginning of the part 3 of Immortals to see kind of how he was feeling about it. So if you miss Kai ranting about dumb shit, don't worry, he'll be back, back next time. But with that, everybody, thanks for listening. Thanks for getting to the end of the episode. As always, and we will see you next week. Peace out, everybody.